Chapter 747. While Ning Shu had exorcised the evil, Song Shihan was not feeling well. The yin qi in her body had been stimulated by the yang gathering array. When she returned home, she lay on the bed and felt very uncomfortable. Feng Yin hugged Song Shihan with heartache, but his approach only made things worse for her. Song Shihan was in a daze. The yin qi in Feng Yin's body had entered her body. The yin qi had been corroding Song Shihan's body for a long time. If this continued, her soul would be annihilated, and she would become a body without a soul. Song Shihan's eyes were unfocused. She buried herself in Feng Yin's chest and asked in a hoarse voice, "Feng Yin, am I going to die? Don't talk nonsense. I won't let anything happen to you." Feng Yin gritted his teeth and said, "You can't die without my permission." Tears fell from the corners of Song Shihan's eyes as she smiled. "I'm already satisfied to have met you in this life. Even if you want me to die now, I'm willing. But I really want to be with you." Song Shihan raised her hand and touched Feng Yin's face. It was cold to the touch. "You've always been like this, and I'll slowly grow old. I might as well die now." Feng Yin's eyes were red as he hugged Song Shihan tightly. His red eyes were filled with hesitation and struggle. His body trembled slightly. Feng Yin asked Song Shihan in a low voice, "I want you to stay by my side forever. We can live forever. Are you willing?" Song Shihan smiled. "I'm willing. But now, I feel like I'm going to die." A white pearl slowly appeared from Feng Yin's body. Although it was white, the surface of the pearl was surrounded by a black aura. The pearl floated in front of Feng Yin. The moment the pearl appeared, everything around it turned black. Everything was silent, as if it had swallowed everything. Feng Yin kissed Song Shihan's forehead and asked, "Are you really willing to be with me forever?" "I'm willing. I'm satisfied as long as I can be with you." Song Shihan looked at Feng Yin. She looked at his eyebrows, nose and lips. Feng Yin smiled, and looked even more magnificent. He said dotingly, "Good girl." Feng Yin reached out and grabbed the bead, placing it next to Song Shihan's mouth. "Open your mouth and swallow it." Out of her trust in Feng Yin, Song Shihan opened her mouth and swallowed the bead without any hesitation. Immediately, she felt as if her body was being torn apart, as if countless thin needles were pricking her brain. Song Shihan held her head in pain, and couldn't help but scream. Her hair fluttered, and the surrounding yin qi, an evil qi rushed into her body. Feng Yin hugged Song Shihan, and comforted her by her ear. "Shihan, it's okay. Just bear with it. It'll be over, and we'll be together forever." Ha! Song Shihan felt as if her body was about to collapse. Her bones felt as if they were being dismantled and reassembled. Song Shihan's face changed slightly. The corners of her eyes were raised, and she looked much more charming. However, her face was pale and transparent, and her lips were dark purple. Every minute and every second was torture. Song Shihan felt like her soul was about to scatter. There was an elegant and gentle voice in her ear. That voice seemed to be guiding her. Song Shihan couldn't take it anymore and fainted. Feng Yin let go of Song Shihan and lifted her collar. He saw a black flower under her collarbone. It was dark and serene. Feng Yin smiled. It was a success. Feng Yin lay down and hugged Song Shihan. From then on, they would be together forever. When Song Shihan woke up, she didn't feel any pain. She turned her head and saw Feng Yin's sleeping face. She couldn't help but trace his facial features with her fingers. Her fingers stopped on her lips as Song Shihan stared at Feng Yin's lips in a daze. Song Shihan was in a daze when someone suddenly grabbed her wrist. Feng Yin opened his eyes and looked at Song Shihan mischievously. Song Shihan's face turned red as she asked in a daze, "I'm not dead." "Silly girl." Feng Yin scratched Song Shihan's nose and said, "Girl, you won't blame me for doing this, right? What did you do to me? Why am I suddenly fine?" Song Shihan moved her body and felt better than ever. She felt very comfortable, and her body seemed to have endless energy. Feng Yin hesitated for a moment before saying, "You're no longer human. To be precise, you're half human and half ghost." Song Shihan was confused. "Because you were with me. You went through the rites of the Lord of Zhou. Your mortal body can't withstand my yin qi and murderous aura. Moreover, your soul will be destroyed." Feng Yin pursed his lips and looked sad. Coupled with his face, it was enough to make one's heart drunk. Song Shihan gripped Feng Yin's hand tightly. I won't blame you. Everything you did was to save me. Otherwise, my soul would have really dissipated. Alright, what did you feed me? Last night. She vaguely felt that Feng Yin had fed her something. Feng Yin said, It's a Ghost King elixir. A Ghost King elixir formed after 1,000 years. Song Shihan quickly asked, You gave me your Ghost King elixir. What will happen to you? Will it harm you? It's just a drop in strength. You can cultivate slowly. If your soul is destroyed, you won't even have the chance to reincarnate. I won't be able to see you again. A Ghost King elixir is nothing. Feng Yin placed his hand on Song Shihan's head. He was gentle and affectionate. As long as you're by my side, I've lived until now just to meet you again. Song Shihan looked extremely touched. She threw herself into Feng Yin's arms. Feng Yin, you're so good to me. As long as I can be with you, I want to be with you. Song Shihan raised her head and kissed Feng Yin. She pressed Feng Yin under her body and mumbled, I'm a ghost now. I should be fine, right? As you wish. There won't be any harm. Feng Yin chuckled. The next day, Ning Shu came to work and saw Song Shihan sitting in the office chair, as if nothing had happened. Ning Shu was deeply stunned. Based on Song Shihan's condition, she shouldn't have been able to come to work today. In such a situation, even if she didn't die, she would be skinned alive. However, Song Shihan's condition was very good. The only thing was that her face was a little pale and lacked vitality. However, her chest was rising and falling slightly. She was breathing. She was alive. This situation was really strange. Ning Shu walked over to greet Song Shihan. You weren't feeling well yesterday. Why are you coming to work today? Are you feeling better? Song Shihan raised her head and glanced at Ning Shu. She said coldly, Thank you for your concern. I'm much better. Ning Shu stared at Song Shihan and said with some confusion, Why do I feel that you've become prettier again? Why did it feel like Song Shihan's face had become more exquisite overnight? Chapter 748. Ning Shu was deeply puzzled. She had been half dead the day before, but today she was reborn. The corners of Song Shihan's eyes were slightly raised, making her look more charming. She was full of femininity. Previously, Song Shihan was pretty, but she was like a green fruit. She wasn't as feminine as she was now. Ning Shu, what was he playing at? He felt like he was retarded. Ning Shu stared at Song Shihan's face, but he didn't sense any yin qi or murderous aura on her. He was dumbfounded. Ning Shu returned to his seat, his heart full of questions. Ning Shu discreetly wiped the cow's tears on his eyelids and looked around. He didn't see Feng Yin. Where did he go? After wiping the cow's tears, Ning Shu saw that Song Shihan next door was emitting a ghostly aura. Ghostly aura? Only ghosts would have ghostly aura. Why was there ghostly aura on Song Shihan? She wasn't a ghost now. Ning Shu scratched his head, puzzled. Looking at Song Shihan's calm appearance, Ning Shu suspected that his yang gathering formation had failed. Why didn't it have any effect on Song Shihan? She had yin qi and murderous aura in her body. It would be very uncomfortable in a place full of yang qi. But now she was completely fine. Ning Shu felt very stifled. Very stifled. Ning Shu coughed and was about to speak to Song Shihan when she turned to look at Ning Shu and said calmly, Sorry, I have to work. Please don't disturb me. Ning Shu. Ning Shu's heart was scratching. He turned around and saw a ghost squatting in a dark corner. This ghost was eyeing Song Shihan covetously. Ning Shu hadn't seen this ghost before. Was it a newcomer? He had just gotten rid of one. And now there was another one? Fortunately, there was a yang gathering formation in the office. He didn't dare to come over. He could only squat in a dark corner and stare at Song Shihan as if she was a piece of fat meat. Ning Shu was puzzled. When he went to the bathroom, he saw two ghosts squatting there. Ning Shu was speechless. What's going on? Is Xia Weiming's company going to become a place for ghost parade? Ning Shu was an idiot the entire time. However, since these ghosts did not harm anyone, Ning Shu had no reason to kill them. Things were out of his control. Ning Shu finally understood what was going on. Ning Shu took out a talisman to immobilize a ghost. This ghost's eyes were rolled up, and there were strangulation marks on its neck. It was obviously a hanged ghost. Dao priest. Hanged Ghost stuttered. He had to stuff his tongue back into his mouth when he spoke. Ning Shu. How could he be so unlucky to have met a hanged ghost who couldn't even speak clearly? The hanged ghost had a strong aura of resentment. For someone who committed suicide, the resentment on his body was very strong. Ning Shu took out a talisman and stuck it on his body. A male ghost hiding in the female toilet. Was he a pervert? If he had the ability, he should hide in the male toilet, which had more yang energy. Hanged Ghost was very uncomfortable. His body was emitting a black aura. He stuttered, Dao priest. Ning Shu asked, why are you all gathered here? Hanged Ghost stuffed his tongue back into his mouth and said, Ghost King Elixir, there is a Ghost King Elixir. Ning Shu looked at him for a long time. He couldn't finish his sentence, so he got the information about the Ghost King Elixir. Song Shihan had a ghostly aura. Was it because of the Ghost King Elixir in her body? The Ghost King Elixir sounded like something that only the Ghost King had. Feng Yin had given his Ghost King Elixir to Song Shihan. If a living person had a Ghost King Elixir in her body, what was Song Shihan now? Ning Shu looked at Hanged Ghost, who kept stuffing his tongue into his mouth. When he stuffed his tongue into his mouth, it immediately fell out. He stuffed it back in again. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. Ning Shu said to Hanged Ghost, you should reincarnate. I also want to, but I'll commit suicide, Hanged Ghost said. Children who died young, committed suicide, and drowned in the water. These types of ghosts could easily become wandering souls. After a long time, their intelligence would gradually disappear. They would become wandering souls without consciousness. In the end, their strength would become weaker and weaker, and they would disappear from the world. These kinds of ghosts would find a substitute and get a chance to reincarnate. Ning Shu thought for a moment and said, I'll help you. Dao priest. Hanged Ghost looked at Ning Shu with excitement. Ning Shu didn't want to listen to him, so he took the talisman from his body. Ning Shu's fingers formed a seal as he chanted the Dao priest's incantation to help the dead. It was the heaven and earth purifying mantra. Heaven and earth are natural. The filthy aura is scattered. The mysteries in the cave, the grand essence is dazzling. Mighty gods from all directions make me natural. Spirit treasure talisman life, announced to the 9 heavens. Kill Luo Dana. The grand essence is mysterious. Slay demons and evil spirits, exorcise thousands of ghosts. Dao Qi exists forever. Urgent as the law commands. Ning Shu's incantation floated around Hanged Ghost. The resentment on Hanged Ghost's body gradually disappeared. Finally, Hanged Ghost floated into a black hole and disappeared. Ning Shu stared blankly at the black hole. Was this the legendary underworld? After finishing the ritual, Ning Shu came out of the bathroom. In the dark corner of the company he saw several ghosts. Ning Shu couldn't help but facepalm. He was speechless. Obviously, these ghosts were here for the Ghost King Dan. Now Song Shihan had become the target of hundreds of ghosts. Their target was the Ghost King Dan in her body. Ning Shu called the old man and asked him about the Ghost King Dan. After waiting for a long time, Ning Shu called back and told the old man about the Ghost King Dan. Now that the Ghost King Dan was in a living person's body, there would definitely be a big mess. When the old man heard about the Ghost King Dan, he was stunned for a moment before saying, humans can cultivate, so can ghosts. Humans receive energy from their dantian. Ghosts who cultivate for a long time will have a Ghost King Dan in their body. This kind of ghost cannot enter the cycle of reincarnation. When they become stronger, they can turn back into a human. But I've only heard of the Ghost King Dan, but I've never seen it. If a human swallows the Ghost King Dan, they will only become a half-human, half-ghost monster. The old man said. Ning Shu was stunned for a moment and said, then is a half-human, half-ghost monster very powerful? No, if there are no accidents, they will have a very long lifespan. But when the energy in the Ghost King Dan is exhausted, she will die and her soul will be annihilated. There will be no afterlife in this life. The old man said. She can only rely on the Ghost King Dan to survive. Once the Ghost King Dan leaves her body, her soul and body will disappear. Hearing that Song Shihan wouldn't suddenly become very powerful, Ning Shu heaved a sigh of relief. However, to be able to stay with Feng Yin for who knows how long was already a cheat. Right now, she was more concerned about another matter. She asked the old man, "Will the Ghost King's strength weaken without the Ghost King Dan?" "That's for sure. The Ghost King Dan is the source of power. The Yin Qi and Baleful Qi are all stored inside." The old man said, "Don't think that just because the Ghost King doesn't have the Ghost King Dan, you can deal with him. You're still too inexperienced." Chapter 749. The old man knew what his disciple was capable of and said over the phone, "Old Xia's son has been saved. Get the money and come back quickly." "Ning Shu, I want to destroy the Ghost King, destroy the Ghost King." "But Old Xia's company is full of ghosts now," Ning Shu said. "Old Xia said that if this matter is resolved he won't mistreat us." "Bullshit. You can't deal with the Ghost King. It doesn't matter if the money is less. Don't put yourself in danger." Ning Shu was also helpless. He said, "Master, take care of yourself. I'll be back soon." Ning Shu hung up the phone and returned to the office. He saw Feng Yin standing beside Song Shihan in a red shirt. He didn't know if it was because of the loss of the Ghost King pill, but he felt that Feng Yin's soul had changed. Previously, Feng Yin's soul was very solid, just like a real person. But now it didn't feel like that. Moreover, there was some black qi coming out of his body. He wasn't like this in the past. He could control and release his yin qi freely. Anyway, it gave Ning Shu the feeling that he was watching a video. It went from super clear to smooth, and he felt like he was in a fog. The red shirt on his body wasn't as bright as before. It seemed that losing the Ghost King pill had a big impact on Feng Yin. In order to save Song Shihan, he gave up his Ghost King pill. Ning Shu wiped away his tears. He was so touched that he cried. True love. In the future, he could live as long as the heavens and be together for endless years. However, he didn't know if he would get tired of facing the same person for endless years. Who could guarantee that he would always love, that his passion wouldn't fade, and that he would love tirelessly? Otherwise, how did the 7-year itch come about? Feng Yin and Song Shihan were intimately intimate, taking advantage of the fact that others couldn't see them. Ning Shu drank a mouthful of water silently. There was a ghost couple being lovey-dovey beside her, and she had to pretend that she didn't see anything. Feng Yin kissed Song Shihan's hair and reached out to grab the ghost hiding in the corner. He wiped out the ghost's consciousness and turned it into a ball of soul power, which Feng Yin absorbed. When Ning Shu saw this, he had a bad feeling in his heart. Feng Yin no longer had the Ghost King Dan, but with his cheat-like ability to absorb other people's soul energy, it was only a matter of time before he returned to his peak. At that time, what would be the point of fighting? Feng Yin had exterminated all the ghosts that were hiding in the building and coveting the Ghost King Dan in Song Shihan's body. These ghosts became Feng Yin's energy source. Ning Shu pursed his lips. Things were getting more and more complicated. Although the ghost bees were trying to snatch the Ghost King Dan from Song Shihan's body, they were also there to help Feng Yin farm monsters. If Feng Yin absorbed the soul energy, he would definitely grow stronger quickly. Now ghosts with some strength or wandering ghosts were just food for Feng Yin. His heart was stifled. He had to strike first to gain the upper hand. But how? Ning Shu typed furiously on the keyboard. She was very irritated. Perhaps in the plot, Feng Yin had used this method to solve the problem of Song Shihan's evil spirit entering her body and turning her into ashes. Until it was time to get off work, Ning Shu still couldn't come up with a solution. In the face of powerful strength, no matter how many tricks there were, it was useless. It was unfair. Her progress in martial arts cultivation was so slow, but others took the initiative to send monsters to her. The suppression in the modern world was too great for her. She had to improve her martial arts value. Perhaps it was because her martial arts value was still too low. When her martial arts value reached the thousands in the future, she didn't believe that there would still be such a great suppression. After work, Song Shihan packed up her things and left. Ning Shu sighed and also got off work. He would come back at night when there was no one in the company. When Ning Shu left the company, he saw Xie Yuan, who was supposed to be recuperating at home, talking to Song Shihan face to face. Song Shihan's expression was very impatient, but Xie Yuan looked quite happy. Ning Shu wiped the ox's tears on his eyelids and saw Feng Yin next to Song Shihan. His body was emitting a black aura, and his eyes were red. He was looking at Xie Yuan with a faint smile. However, Xie Yuan didn't notice it at all. He actually wanted to reach out and hold Song Shihan's hand to take advantage of her. Ning Shu was speechless. He was simply tired of living. As long as he lived, he wouldn't stop courting death. She didn't want to waste her effort to save him again. If it happened again, there would be no need to save him. He would be finished. Ning Shu shouted at Xie Yuan, Xie Yuan. Xie Yuan immediately withdrew his hand and turned to look at Ning Shu in a daze. Even Song Shihan turned to look at Ning Shu with a puzzled expression. She was guessing the relationship between Ning Shu and Xie Yuan. Ning Shu wiped the ox's tears on his hand and walked over to Xie Yuan to drag him away by his collar. "What are you doing?" "Hey." Xie Yuan struggled with all his might. "Let go of me." Ning Shu wiped Xie Yuan's eyelids with his finger that was stained with the ox's tears. He moved closer to his ear and said coldly, "Didn't you want to see a ghost? I'll let you see it." Ning Shu said as he stuck a talisman on Xie Yuan's back. "I'm talking to someone." Xie Yuan stopped talking and widened his eyes to look at Song Shihan and the man in red next to her. Xie Yuan was so frightened that he was speechless when he saw the ghostly aura emitting from the two of them. His mouth opened and closed, but he couldn't say a word. His body went weak, and he was dragged away by Ning Shu. Seeing a ghost in broad daylight. After walking for a long distance, Ning Shu finally let go of Xie Yuan when Song Shihan and Feng Yin were out of sight. Xie Yuan was lying on the ground like a dead pig. Ning Shu kicked him. "Can you get up?" "Behind you." "Ah." Xie Yuan was so frightened that he screamed. His voice became sharp. He quickly got up and jumped onto Ning Shu's body. He wrapped his limbs around Ning Shu's body. "There's a ghost." Ning Shu tilted his head and dug his ears. He felt that his ears were hurt by Xie Yuan's screams. "Get down." It was hard for a girl like her to stand up to a man like Xie Yuan. Look at how scared she was. She didn't believe it before. She said no, but her body was honest. She was so scared. Xie Yuan got down from Ning Shu. Ning Shu said, "I'm so scared that my legs are weak. Give me a hand. There's a ghost chasing you from behind. He probably died in a car accident. He's holding his arm with one hand," Ning Shu said faintly. "Ah!" Xie Yuan ran quickly. His legs were not weak anymore. When they returned to the villa, Xie Yuan was already lying motionless on the sofa. Xie Weiming thought that something had happened to his son again. Xie Weiming asked Ning Shu, "What's wrong with him?" "He's a pervert." Ning Shu rolled his eyes. "I told you that she's already taken. Why did he have to get close to her?" Xie Yuan wiped his sweat and asked Ning Shu, "What are those two things?" Chapter 750. Xie Yuan was still in shock. Ning Shu asked, "Why do I think Song Shihan is also a ghost?" Ning Shu smiled. "Of course." Xie Yuan's face turned pale and trembled. "No way." Xie Weiming frowned. Ning Shu asked, "What's the situation now?" Ning Shu sighed. "It's a little complicated. I'm caught off guard." Ning Shu told Xie Weiming the ins and outs of the matter. As the owner of the company, he should know the specific situation. After listening to Ning Shu's words, Xie Weiming looked very annoyed. Does the Xie family owe them something? There's no end to it. If I stay in the company, thousands of ghosts will invade. If I fire them, they will take revenge on me. It's really... Xie Weiming frowned. Ning Shu said, "Why don't you ask your master to come here? He should have a way." Ning Shu said, "Master said that he can't deal with the Ghost King. Besides, I've already saved Xie Yuan. He wants you to give me the money. I want it back." Xie Weiming almost jumped up and begged Ning Shu, "Immortal Master, please help me with this matter. You can't just leave the stall like this. God cares for all living things. There are so many employees in the company. Please help," Xie Weiming said. Ning Shu pursed his lips. The problem was that he couldn't win against them. Xie Weiming sighed and said, "As long as this matter is solved, you can ask for anything. I'll give you everything except the company." Ning Shu said, "I'll think of a way." Ning Shu went upstairs to get his cloth bag and prepared to go to the company in the dark. Xie Yuan followed Ning Shu upstairs. Seeing that Ning Shu was carrying a bag of things, he said to Ning Shu, "Do you have any talismans for self-defense? Give me 2 of them." 5,000 yuan, Ning Shu said. Xie Yuan was speechless. "Give it to me." Ning Shu gave him 2 amulets and said, "Don't keep in touch with Song Shihan anymore. Strictly speaking, you two are not in the same world now." Xie Yuan looked at the amulet over and over again. When he heard Ning Shu's words, he nodded and said, "I know. Is that ghost always by her side?" "Yes, a ghost king who has cultivated for over 1,000 years. Xie Yuan sighed deeply. "I thought I had met a woman I could spend the rest of my life with. You're not as good looking as the ghost king," Ning Shu said bluntly. Xie Yuan rolled his eyes. Seeing that Ning Shu was about to leave, he asked, "Where are you going?" "I'll go with you. It's night now. When the Yin energy is very strong, your body is now in a state of being hollowed out. It's easy to get into trouble if you go out." Ning Shu didn't want to bring along the screaming prince at all. He was so loud that it scared people to death. When Ning Shu arrived at the company, he took the soul pearl and the compass. Previously, he thought that the Yang gathering array and the immortal binding array would have some effect on Feng Yin. In the end, nothing happened. Instead, Song Shihan became a half-human, half-ghost monster who lived as long as the heavens. Ning Shu put away the spiritual bead and the compass. Without the support of the artifact, the Yang congregating array's effect was a bit worse. Ning Shu suddenly felt the surrounding air become cold and gloomy. Ning Shu took out a cinnabar pen from the cloth bag and mixed the ashes from the 10,000 burial with other exorcism items. He used the rootless water to turn them into ink. Ning Shu took the cinnabar pen and drew an amulet under Song Shihan's office chair. Then, he lay on the ground and drew an amulet under the office table. After drawing Song Shihan's position, Ning Shu drew talismans under the table and chairs in the office. She drew talismans in inconspicuous places. To be honest, Ning Shu really didn't know why Song Shihan worked so hard at work. Although Feng Yin was a ghost, he was very capable. If he wanted to make money, he could do it in a matter of minutes. There was no one else who would want to ruin this company. Perhaps the Xie family had done something wrong to Song Shihan in their previous life. That was why they had to suffer such retribution in this life. After drawing the amulets in the office, Ning Shu went to the toilet to draw more. He hoped that Xie Weiming's company would be able to survive. He was destined to face such a calamity. By the time he was done, it was already midnight. Ning Shu packed up and prepared to return to the villa to cultivate. Although his cultivation speed wasn't as fast as Feng Yin's, if he didn't cultivate, he wouldn't have any chance to kill Feng Yin. When Ning Shu returned to the villa, he saw that it was brightly lit. When he walked into the living room, he saw that the Xie family's servants were in a mess. "Immortal Master, something happened to Yuan again." "Sigh," Xie Weiming said anxiously when he came downstairs and saw Ning Shu. Ning Shu frowned and walked upstairs quickly. When he opened the door to Xie Yuan's room, he saw Xie Yuan curled up on the bed and covered himself with the blanket. The blanket was shaking. Ning Shu lifted the blanket and saw that Xie Yuan's body was curled up. When he saw Ning Shu even whimpered and bared his teeth ferociously. Ning Shu rolled his eyes and sighed. He took a piece of amulet paper and pasted it on Xie Yuan's head. Xie Yuan's body emitted black smoke. He whimpered and his limbs twitched. Finally, his eyes rolled back and he fainted. Xie Weiming asked Ning Shu, "How is he?" Ning Shu said, "He went out during the day and was possessed by a low-level spirit." "What is it?" Xie Weiming asked. "A dog." Xie Weiming was speechless. "His body is weak now, so he's staying at home. I've set up a formation at home." Ning Shu sighed deeply. It was so worrisome. Ning Shu went downstairs and made a decoction for Xie Yuan. Then he pinched Xie Yuan's nose and forced the decoction down his throat. Xie Yuan choked on the decoction and woke up. When he opened his eyes and saw Ning Shu, he immediately said, "I saw the man beside Song Shihan." "Huh?" Ning Shu looked at Xie Yuan in confusion. "Weren't you possessed by a dog?" Xie Yuan raised his chin. Ning Shu said, "Is there a strangulation mark on my neck? He was the one who strangled me." He threatened me to stay away from Song Shihan. Otherwise he would destroy my soul. You scared me to death. Xie Yuan looked as if he was about to pee his pants. Only then did Ning Shu notice the faint mark on Xie Yuan's neck. Although it looked light now, it would be very obvious the next morning. Ning Shu took some glutinous rice and pressed it on the mark on his neck. Xie Yuan shouted hoarsely, "It hurts, it hurts." Ning Shu asked, "You said that the Ghost King came to look for you. When did it happen?" "Not long after you left. I was about to sleep, but he appeared at my bedside. His cold hand was on my neck. He even threatened me that if I went near his woman again, he would kill me," Xie Yuan said hoarsely. "The talisman you gave me is useless. You have to pay me back 5,000 yuan. Xie Yuan was about to cry. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. If the talisman could deal with Feng Yin, then Feng Yin wouldn't be a 1,000-year-old ghost. Why didn't he kill you directly? Why did he threaten you? Ning Shu was a little confused. With Feng Yin's ability, killing Xie Yuan was too easy. Chapter 751. Ning Shu looked at Xie Yuan and asked, "Why didn't the Ghost King strangle you to death? Why did he keep you alive? This doesn't make sense. A woman's heart is the most vicious." Xie Yuan touched her neck and said in a hoarse voice, "He wanted to strangle me to death. I almost died at that time, but he seemed to have encountered something and left quickly." Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. "He didn't strangle you to death and left again. I almost suffocated at that time and was about to die. But he froze for a moment, and his expression changed drastically. Then he left." Xie Yuan reached out to Ning Shu. "Your talisman paper is not good. I want a refund." Ning Shu touched his chin and his eyes darted around. Feng Yin must have encountered something that forced him to go back. He even left his love rival aside. The only person who could make Feng Yin care so much about was Song Shihan. Something must have happened to Song Shihan. Although Song Shihan had an endless lifespan, her combat strength was -5. She also had the Ghost King elixir in her body, which was coveted by thousands of ghosts. Wouldn't a child be robbed if she carried gold through the downtown area? In the future, Feng Yin would have to protect Song Shihan by her side. Ning Shu suddenly laughed. He didn't know how long this protection would last. Feng Yin would have to deal with ghosts who came to find trouble and covet the Ghost King elixir every day. He didn't know if he would feel tired. Why would Song Shihan accept Feng Yin's protection with a clear conscience? Was it because of love? On the basis of love, being evenly matched was the only way to last. This way, both parties would be willing to learn to compromise and support each other under the erosion of time. A relationship that lacked balance would one day become a lose-lose situation for both parties. To get someone, one had to become that kind of person first. Well, maybe it was true love. Ning Shu felt that he didn't know what true love was. Xie Yuan looked at Ning Shu, who was smiling sinisterly, and couldn't help but ask, "What do we do now? This ghost is not only at the company, but also at home." "It's all because of your lust," Ning Shu said angrily. Xie Yuan touched his neck and said, "You monks don't understand feelings. I fell in love with Song Shihan at first sight." There was no need to explain the female lead's halo. How could there be so much love at first sight? It was nothing more than lust. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have expelled the low-level spirit body in this guy's body. Instead, he would have let this guy look for dung to eat on the roadside. Xie Yuan, Ning Shu said, "Well, I have something to discuss with you. You know that the ghost will come to me." Ning Shu stood up abruptly and decided to go to Song Shihan's house to see what was going on. Maybe he could fish in troubled waters. Currently, Song Shihan and Feng Yin's situation was not very good. Song Shihan had no battle prowess, but she had the Ghost King Dan. Without the Ghost King Dan, Feng Yin's strength had declined, and he had to protect Song Shihan. Now was the best time. Xie Yuan saw Ning Shu suddenly stand up and said, "I haven't said anything yet. Why are you so agitated? What do you want to tell me?" Ning Shu checked the things in the cloth bag on his body. These were necessary exorcism tools. Xie Yuan said to Ning Shu, "Don't worry. I don't have any improper thoughts about you. You're just a pervert in my heart." "Really?" What do you want to say? Ning Shu looked at Xie Yuan silently. Xie Yuan said righteously to Ning Shu, I want to sleep with you. Ning Shu. Ning Shu gave Xie Yuan a big slap in the face. Speak properly. Don't be a hooligan. Xie Yuan was dumbfounded. He covered his face and said, I said I want to sleep in the same room as you. I'm afraid that the Ghost King will come to me. Why did you hit me? Ning Shu ignored Xie Yuan. He turned around and left the villa. Then he went to Song Shihan's house. Song Shihan's address was listed in the company's employee information. Song Shihan lived in a small apartment. It was quite a small apartment. The walls of the small apartment were covered with creepers. However, at the moment the small apartment was dark. The cold wind was whistling. It felt as if thousands of ghosts had gathered in an unmarked graveyard. Ning Shu hid not far away. He took out the cow's tears and smeared them on his eyelids. He stuck talismans on his body and checked the situation of the apartment. Many malicious ghosts had entered the room through the windows of the apartment. However, none of them returned. It was Ning Shu's first time seeing so many ghosts. There were all kinds of ghosts. There were male ghosts, female ghosts, and evil babies. There were all kinds of strange sounds mixed together. There was a long song, a child's crying, and the rhythmic sound of the night watch. It made the magnetic field in the area chaotic. So many ghosts had gathered together for the Ghost King elixir. The Ghost King elixir was with Feng Yin, so these ghosts did not dare to act rashly. However, it was with a weak person now. They would be crazy not to snatch it. Ning Shu was very anxious. He was obviously going to die. Don't underestimate the protagonist's halo. Ning Shu furrowed her brows tightly. How was she going to deal with Feng Yin? If she was strong enough now, needless to say, she could just go up and kill Feng Yin without even blinking. Many ghosts did not dare to rush in, probably because they had seen how powerful Feng Yin was. Instead, they quietly guarded the surroundings of the apartment. The surroundings of the apartment were gloomy and filled with a ghostly aura. The street lights were sizzling, sometimes bright and sometimes dark. There were also some strange sounds. If someone passed by here, they would definitely fall ill. The Yin energy was too strong. Feng Yin floated in midair. He frowned slightly. He looked through the window at Song Shihan, who was lying on the bed in the room. At this moment, Song Shihan was lying on the bed unconscious. He had only left for a while, and these ghosts came to find him. They rushed into Song Shihan's body to snatch the Ghost King elixir, causing Song Shihan to be severely injured. Feng Yin's eyes were red. He scanned the ghosts around him with a strong murderous aura. He said coldly, Go back to where you came from. If you dare to harass my woman again, your souls will be burned by the 9 Yin astral flames until your souls are destroyed. Hearing Feng Yin's words, the ghosts lurking in the surroundings became restless. Some of the weaker ghosts hesitated and floated away. However, most of the ghosts did not move. Obviously, they were still thinking about the Ghost King elixir. Feng Yin, who was floating in midair, saw this scene and snorted. His hair and red clothes fluttered. He slowly raised his hand, and an orchid flame appeared in his palm. As soon as the flame appeared, the surrounding temperature dropped rapidly. Ning Shu felt that his soul was about to freeze. It was said that this flame was used by the underworld to deal with disobedient souls. They would roast them on the 9 Yin astral flames. It would make people feel that their souls were frozen, and then split into countless pieces. The cycle would repeat until the soul was destroyed. The stronger the soul, the more painful it was. Because a strong soul was not so easy to destroy, it could only endure endless pain. Chapter 752. Feng Yin took out the 9 Yin flame and suppressed the ghosts around him. Some of the ghosts couldn't withstand the power of the 9 Yin flame and dissipated immediately. Ning Shu was speechless. Fuck, this is the modern world. Taking out something like this is against the rules, you know? Seeing this flame, Ning Shu thought that he was in the cultivation world. Ning Shu, a living person, felt that his soul was very uncomfortable. Many of the ghosts around him quickly retreated, as if they were facing a great enemy. Feng Yin was like a god floating in the air. The 9 Yin flame in his palm pulsed slightly. The blue flame reflected on his face, making Feng Yin's face look a little green. There were idiots in humans and idiots in ghosts. There were still ghosts who didn't believe it and continued to squat around the apartment. Feng Yin sneered and took out a wisp of the Nining flame in his palm and shot it at the more stupid ghost. The moment the Nining flame came into contact with the ghost, it immediately burned like a man on fire. The ghost that was hit by the Nining flame wailed in pain and rolled around, trying to extinguish the flames on its body. Although it was called a flame, it was very cold and invaded the soul. Not long after, the ghost completely dissipated, and the power of its soul was directly absorbed by the Nining flame. Ningshu was speechless. Fuck, he seriously suspected that he had walked into the wrong place. Previously, he found out that Feng Yin was very powerful. But now it was different. With this as an example, the surrounding ghosts were scared out of their wits and disappeared in a flash. After these ghosts left, the dark clouds in the sky gradually disappeared, revealing the moon. Ningshu also planned to leave. He wanted to fish in troubled waters, but the situation was completely one-sided. Up until now, no human or ghost was a match for Feng Yin. There was only one feeling in Ningshu's heart. What the hell? Feng Yin looked at Ningshu's hiding place and said coldly, "The person hiding over there, come out. How long do you want to wait? A living person dares to appear in a place like this." Ningshu's eyes darted around, but he didn't step out. When he saw the Nining flame in Feng Yin's palm getting weaker and weaker, his heart suddenly lit up. The Nining astral wind was extremely harmful to the soul, so Feng Yin, who was using it, should also be injured, especially now that Feng Yin's strength had decreased. Feng Yin saw that Ningshu didn't move, so Ningshu walked over. Ningshu took out the spirit pearl from his cloth bag to see if it would harm Feng Yin. The soul pearl was also something that absorbed soul energy. Feng Yin didn't have a physical body now, so he was just a ghost. Feng Yin walked closer and closer. Ningshu could feel the mournful murderous aura all around him. Ningshu directly threw the soul pearl at Feng Yin. Feng Yin stopped in his tracks and furrowed his handsome brows. His expression was puzzled, and he clearly did not understand what this was. However, that did not stop Feng Yin from being wary of the soul bead. With a flash, he dodged the soul bead. Unexpectedly, the soul bead had charged into the Nining astral flames. The Nining astral flame throbbed violently, crazily burning the soul pearl. The soul pearl trembled slightly, obviously resisting the Nining astral flame. The two of them were in a stalemate. Both were spiritual objects that were filled with soul energy, and both wanted to devour the other. Feng Yin furrowed his brows tightly. His expression looked terrifying under the dim moonlight. He realized that the Nining astral flame was actually extracting his soul energy, wanting to refine the soul pearl. The Nining astral flame throbbed even more violently, and the soul pearl throbbed. It was unknown when the battle between the two of them would end. Ningshu stared closely at the soul pearl and Feng Yin. When he saw that Feng Yin's soul was dimmer than before, he guessed that the Nining astral flame was absorbing his soul energy. Otherwise, why would the Nining astral flame suddenly explode with such powerful energy? Ningshu's heart thumped wildly. Perhaps this was an opportunity to weaken Feng Yin's strength. Ningshu reached into his cloth bag and took out a stack of talisman papers. These talisman papers were drawn with Feng Yin's ashes. Ningshu held the talisman papers between his fingers and chanted an incantation. A few talisman papers flew towards Feng Yin. When Feng Yin saw these talisman papers, an impatient expression appeared on his face. He just wanted to end this stalemate. Song Shihan was still waiting for him in the house. He just wanted to get rid of this sneaky rat. He didn't expect to end up in such a situation where he couldn't advance or retreat. Feng Yin faced the talisman papers that were flying towards him. He flicked his sleeve, wanting to destroy the talisman papers. However, he didn't expect the talisman papers to stick to his body. The moment the talisman papers touched Feng Yin's soul body, they emitted billowing black gas. The yin qi and killing intent in Feng Yin's body surged out, causing Feng Yin's soul body to weaken even more. Feng Yin furrowed his brows tightly. How could a Taoist's talisman papers hurt him? Feng Yin felt a familiar energy from the talisman papers. This energy entered his soul body, making him feel very uncomfortable. Feng Yin's current situation wasn't good. On one hand, the talisman papers were suppressing his energy. On the other hand, the Nining astral flame was extracting his soul energy. It wanted to turn the soul energy in the soul pearl into its own. When Ning Shu saw that the talisman papers were effective, he took out another stack and chanted an incantation. The talisman papers flew towards Feng Yin in unison. Feng Yin's expression was ferocious. He was no longer incomparably handsome and peerless. His jade-white face was covered in blood. Blood was dripping from it. His gaze was malicious and filled with hatred. This was Feng Yin's face before he died. His face was still the same, but it was covered in blood. Feng Yin killed many people because of Song Shihan's previous life. Then he committed suicide for love. Ning Shu was greatly encouraged. This meant that Feng Yin's power had been severely damaged. Even his face could only remain the same as when he died. Feng Yin looked coldly at Ning Shu. His eyes were filled with killing intent and boundless viciousness. Ning Shu felt a chill run down his spine. The Nining astral flame was still absorbing Feng Yin's energy to refine the soul pearl. The result of this stalemate was something that Feng Yin couldn't handle. Perhaps it was just Ning Shu's imagination, but Ning Shu felt that the soul pearl was smaller than before. This meant that its power was weakening. Ning Shu thought for a moment and set up an array around them. It was the Yang Gathering Array. With the Yang Gathering Array, the yin qi in the surroundings gradually weakened. The moonlight became clear. Feng Yin stretched out his hand. One of his hands extended endlessly, wanting to strangle Ning Shu's neck. Ning Shu held a peachwood sword that had been soaked in cinnabar and stabbed it into Feng Yin's hand. Feng Yin's hand was stabbed by the peachwood sword and black smoke billowed out. Feng Yin ignored the sizzling hand and slapped his palm onto Ning Shu's chest. Ning Shu was sent flying. He crashed into a street lamp post and spat out a mouthful of black blood. He saw Feng Yin's hand pressing down on him. Ning Shu took out his ancestor's compass. Feng Yin's hand slapped onto the compass. A golden light flashed from the compass, blocking Feng Yin's huge hand. Ning Shu inserted some spirit qi into the compass. A dragon's roar came from the compass. Something that looked like a dragon or a snake crawled out from the compass and slammed into Feng Yin's hand. The two collided and produced a loud sound. Ning Shu instantly lost his hearing. The force of the collision caused the golden dragon that had been formed from the compass to turn into specks of golden light and disappear. It had taken the hit for Ning Shu. Chapter 753. Although the golden dragon had disappeared in this collision, Feng Yin was not in a good state either. His soul was dimmer than before. As a result, the Nining flame's power had decreased, and it was at a disadvantage against the spirit pearl. The spirit pearl could actually absorb the Nining flame. The Nining flame resisted and absorbed more of Feng Yin's power. This was simply one disaster after another for Feng Yin. Ning Shu got up from the ground and touched his chest. He felt very uncomfortable, and the yin qi in his body was trembling. The yin qi had entered his body. Ning Shu took out a talisman and pasted it on his body. The power of the talisman clashed with the yin qi in his body, making Ning Shu feel even worse. Ning Shu groaned and spat out a mouthful of blood. Although it was uncomfortable, Ning Shu held the compass tightly and looked at Feng Yin warily. Feng Yin was wary of the compass in Ning Shu's hand and did not attack again. He was not sure if this thing could be used once or twice. Moreover, he had another problem now, which was the Nining flame and the spirit pearl. Feng Yin had tried to intervene in the battle between the two, but he had failed. Feng Yin frowned and looked very impatient. The blood on his face dripped onto the ground. Ugh! In this quiet moment, a soft moan came from the small apartment. It was Song Shihan's voice. Feng Yin quickly looked through the window and saw Song Shihan lying on the bed. Song Shihan was rolling on the bed in discomfort. Previously, Song Shihan had been possessed by thousands of ghosts who wanted to steal the Ghost King elixir in her body. She was in a very dangerous state. Now, Ning Shu had set up a Yang Gathering Array around the apartment. Any damage to Song Shihan would be a disaster. Now Song Shihan had a physique that attracted ghosts. All the ghosts she met wanted to enter her body and steal the Ghost King elixir. Some even wanted to take Song Shihan's body for themselves. However, most of the ghosts only wanted the Ghost King elixir. After all, a half-human half-ghost had no power and would be destroyed by other ghosts sooner or later. When Feng Yin saw the uncomfortable Song Shihan, his heart burned with anxiety. However, the moment the 9-yin astral flame in his hand got close to Song Shihan, it would harm her. Feng Yin furrowed his brows tightly. More blood flowed from his face, causing the surroundings to be filled with the sticky smell of blood. It was as if there was a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood in front of him. Feng Yin took a deep breath and turned around to look at Ning Shu with bloodshot eyes. His gaze was calm, and he looked at Ning Shu as if he was looking at a dead man. Ning Shu felt a chill run down his spine. He knew that he had been added to Feng Yin's must-kill list. Feng Yin used his hand as a knife and chopped off his other wrist. That severed hand turned into soul energy and was absorbed by the 9-yin astral flames. Feng Yin's severed wrist regrown. Feng Yin glanced at the faint blue 9-yin flames before turning around and rushing into the apartment. Ning Shu was a little surprised. Had Feng Yin given up on the 9-yin astral flames? Without Feng Yin's energy supply, the 9-yin astral flames immediately became weak. The soul pearl shook even more violently. The 9-yin astral flames became weaker and weaker, but the soul pearl became stronger and stronger. In the end, it actually absorbed the 9-yin astral winds. Ning Shu quickly held the soul pearl. He felt that the soul pearl was a little heavier than before. It felt cool in his hand. After taking the soul pearl, Ning Shu did not stay any longer. He immediately turned around and ran. As he ran, his chest hurt. Even though Ning Shu had a talisman on his body, he still felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. When he returned to the villa, his face was green and his lips were black. In the villa, the father and son of the Xie family were still waiting. When they saw Ning Shu like this, they quickly asked, "What happened to you?" Ning Shu drank 2 bowls of exorcism medicine first. After drinking the medicine, Ning Shu took out a talisman and stuck it on his body. His body emitted a black aura. Ning Shu and Xie Weiming said, "Don't let your employees come to work for the time being." Feng Yin had suffered such a great loss. He would definitely take revenge. Xie Weiming asked, "What's wrong?" "We couldn't get rid of him. He might want to take revenge." Ning Shu's body felt weak. Xie Weiming nodded. "That's good." He then sighed. "We can't do business with the company either." Ning Shu pursed his lips and said, "What business can we do without him? We have to be on guard at all times. The Ghost King will definitely come looking for us." Ning Shu then went upstairs and returned to her room. She sat cross-legged on her bed and cultivated. She guided her qi to heal the parts of her body that had been damaged by the dark yin qi. Feng Yin's palm strike had even injured her heart meridians. Ning Shu, who was cultivating, frowned. The dark yin qi had entered her body, causing her eyes and ears to be filled with all kinds of hallucinations. She had experienced many worlds. The scenes of these worlds flashed before her eyes one by one. They were complicated and confusing, causing Ning Shu's mind to be muddled. Ning Shu was very impatient. All kinds of negative emotions surged in her heart. She suddenly started to question why she had to move from world to world and live an endless life. She lived day after day without her own life. She had to live in someone else's body. This kind of life simply had no end. What was the point of enduring loneliness alone? Ning Shu's body was emitting black smoke. Her forehead was filled with black qi, and her eyes were bloodshot. The dark yin qi was corroding Ning Shu's mind. Ning Shu stood up and walked to the balcony. Looking down, an idea appeared in her mind. Jump down and end everything. She didn't know why she had suffered so much. It was for the sake of living. However, she had experienced so many worlds. It was already worth it. An endless and lonely life was really meaningless. It was unbearable. Who would remember her? Living was really meaningless. What was the point? A bewitching voice sounded in Ning Shu's mind. It made Ning Shu want to jump down. Ning Shu closed his eyes and took a step forward. "Ning Shu, did water enter your brain again?" 2333's voice sounded in Ning Shu's mind. Ning Shu took back his foot and said lightly, "I suddenly felt tired. The dark yin qi only brought out the tiredness buried deep in my heart." Ning Shu's mind was clear. 2333 was silent for a moment and said, "If you want to end it, I can kill you and break the contract between us." Ning Shu sighed and sat cross-legged on the floor. He silently chanted the clear heart mantra to dispel the negative emotions in his heart. Ning Shu stuck 2 talismans on his body and went downstairs to drink 2 bowls of evil-expelling potion. He lay on the bed and silently chanted the clear heart mantra. As he chanted, he fell asleep. The next morning, Ning Shu's mood was much better. Under the effects of the talismans and the potion, the dark yin qi in his body was gone. However, his heart still hurt. It hurt when he coughed, and it hurt when he walked a little faster. He could only rely on his qi to heal the damage to his heart. Chapter 754. Ning Shu was sitting cross-legged on the bed and channeling the qi from his dantian to his heart meridian when he heard a knock on the door. Ning Shu opened the door and saw Xie Yuan. Xie Yuan looked at Ning Shu's face and asked, "Are you feeling better?" Ning Shu said, "Much better." Xie Yuan sighed. "I feel bad that I have to rely on you to protect a young girl like you. Does your Taoist temple still accept disciples?" Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu said faintly, "People like us who are considered cultivators will be punished by the heavenly Tao if we reveal the secrets of heaven. You are not suitable. Besides, you are too old to learn anything." Xie Yuan rolled his eyes. "Let's go downstairs and eat." Ning Shu ate a lot for breakfast. He had little spiritual energy, so he could only rely on this method to get energy to repair his body. Xie Yuan watched Ning Shu eat bowl after bowl, and couldn't help but swallow his saliva. "Where did all your food go?" Ning Shu ignored him. After breakfast, Ning Shu hung the 8 trigrams mirror at the door of the villa and set up an array. It was the kind of array that protected the mountain. However, without the artifact, Ning Shu could only take out the compass. Ning Shu looked at the compass over and over again. The magnetic needle was black, and he couldn't tell what material it was made of. Anyway, it was very ordinary and inconspicuous. If it hadn't blocked the attack for her last night, she would have died. In the plot, Tao Qin also relied on this compass to escape. It seemed that this compass was not simple. Ning Shu placed the compass on the antique shelf in the living room and pressed it on the array eye. With these measures, Feng Yin would definitely have to spend some effort to break into the Xie family's house. He wouldn't be able to come and go as freely as before. Ning Shu thought about it and decided to experiment with an array, the spirit gathering array, to gather all the spiritual energy in the surroundings. This array was very complicated. Ning Shu had been learning from Qingyu for a long time, but the success rate was very low. Gathering spirit qi in one place was like fighting for spirit qi with the whole world. Ning Shu fiddled with the array formation. He took out the soul pearl and placed it on the eye of the array formation. Ning Shu's fingers formed a seal, and the array formation in the room became faintly discernible. Finally, it collapsed. Ning Shu had no choice but to start all over again. He formed hand seals over and over again, and finally, the array stabilized. Spiritual qi slowly gathered in the room. Ning Shu took a deep breath. He felt very comfortable and refreshed. He hurriedly sat down cross-legged to cultivate. The spiritual energy entered his dantian through his pores. Just as Ning Shu was enjoying the feeling of having abundant spiritual energy, the spirit gathering array collapsed. Ning Shu, what the? Before the spiritual energy dissipated, Ning Shu desperately absorbed it. Ning Shu originally thought that Feng Yin would come to take revenge on her, but after a few days, everything was still calm and peaceful. Ning Shu touched his chin. He wondered if it was because he couldn't leave Song Shihan, so he couldn't find trouble with her for the time being. It was better if he didn't come. He could wait until she recovered. Ning Shu originally thought that she could live peacefully for a period of time, but the female superior whom Feng Yin had dealt with previously committed suicide by jumping off a building. Now even the TV news was reporting it. The spearhead was vaguely pointing at Xie Weiming's company. This female superior was considered a senior executive of the company. For a senior executive of the company to commit suicide, there must be some reason. The father and son of the Xie family sat on the sofa in the living room and watched the news on TV. Their expressions were very ugly. Now, the family of the female superior was on TV, demanding an explanation from Xia Weiming's company. Otherwise, they would blow this matter up. Xia Weiming was so annoyed that he was about to die. His white hair had increased. He said to Ning Shu, "This must have been done by a ghost." Ning Shu, that although it was the truth, others had to believe it. Ning Shu didn't expect that Feng Yin didn't come to find her and the Xia family. Instead, he killed the female superior who was targeting Song Shihan. Was he starting with the female superior? Was Feng Yin crazy? He was so unscrupulous. He was probably too angry. He was angry that the Xia family found a Taoist priest to exorcise the evil spirit and caused Song Shihan to end up like that. He even suffered a loss, and his strength was greatly reduced. Xia Weiming said angrily, "What's the point of running this company? Don't run it anymore. It's ridiculous." The Xia family was inexplicably implicated. They couldn't afford to have an employee like Song Shihan. Ning Shu frowned. She carried the cloth bag and prepared to go to the female superior's house to take a look. Xia Yuan said, "I'll go with you. After all, this is my family's matter." Ning Shu nodded and didn't say anything. The female superior had jumped off a building. She had jumped from more than 10 floors in a high-end residential area. There was no chance of survival at all. There were black bloodstains on the ground below the residential area, and the blood had splashed quite far away. There were white human-shaped crime scene wires on the ground, and there was a cordon around them. When Xia Yuan saw the bloodstains on the ground, she couldn't help but wipe her face with a pitiful expression. Ning Shu took a cow's tear and wiped it on his eyelids. He saw the female superior's soul wandering around the place of death. Her body had a thick black aura, and it was ghastly. There was no way for the female superior to be reincarnated after being entangled by the evil spirit. She could only wander around the place of death indefinitely until her soul was destroyed. Ning Shu took out 3 incense sticks from his bag and lit them. The wandering female superior smelled the incense and stopped wandering. She looked at Ning Shu with pleading eyes. Ning Shu said, "I'll help you transcend. Let's forget about this life." Ning Shu pinched his fingers and emptied his mind. He then chanted the purifying heaven and earth mantra. Heaven and earth are natural. Evil qi is dispersed. The mystery in the cave is clear and bright. The mighty gods in all directions make me natural. Lingbao talisman life, announced to the 9 heavens. Kill Luodana. Understand the mystery of the universe. Slay demons and evil spirits. Exorcise thousands of ghosts. The qi of Tao is everlasting. It is as urgent as the law. As Ning Shu chanted the mantra, the evil spirit on the female superior's body slowly decreased. A black hole-like passage appeared behind her. The female superior floated toward the black hole, and the black hole was also slowly shrinking. The female superior had already reached the entrance of the black hole. Suddenly, a powerful evil spirit burst out from her body. The evil spirit formed something like a chain, tied her body, and dragged her out of the black hole. The female superior panicked. Ning Shu shouted, "Help!" Ning Shu was stunned for a moment. He quickly took out the talisman paper and shot it toward the chain that was dragging the female superior. The talisman paper did not break the chain formed by the evil spirit. Ning Shu directly took out the talisman paper drawn with bone ashes. He stuck the talisman paper on the peachwood sword and cut the chain. The black hole was getting smaller and smaller. When the black hole disappeared completely, the female superior had no chance to be reincarnated. Not every transcendence could succeed. Without the restraint of the chain, the female superior quickly rushed toward the black hole. Just as the black hole was about to close, she finally entered. Ning Shu heaved a sigh of relief. "Meddlesome Taoist priest, this is a warning to you. You and the Xie family will not have an easy time." Feng Yin's voice suddenly came from the sky. Xie Yuan covered his ears in pain. Ning Shu quickly stuck the talisman paper on his body. Xie Yuan's face was pale. He said regretfully, "If I had known, I wouldn't have pursued Song Shihan. At that time, I didn't know that Song Shihan was in this situation." Chapter 755. Xie Yuan regretted provoking Song Shihan now. His family's company was now in a difficult situation, and his employees had lost their lives because of it. However, Xie Yuan was also suffering. Who would have thought that Song Shihan would have a ghost king by her side? He would definitely pursue the girl he liked. After all, Xie Yuan was not bad. His family was rich. Although he was not as good-looking as Feng Yin, he was considered outstanding among ordinary people. Xie Yuan's face was pale, and he was very irritated. He looked at Ning Shu and said fiercely, "Is there really no way to kill him? Let his soul dissipate." Xie Yuan was also provoked. If someone wanted to strangle him and kill him, he would not stretch his neck out and let them kill him without any resistance. This was just the beginning. Ning Shu pursed his lips. Everyone has weaknesses. Even if he becomes a ghost, he can only take it slow. Can't he take it slow? I'm worried that he will harm the company's employees, Xie Yuan said. That was completely possible. After all, the death of the female boss had brought trouble to the Xie family. If anything happened to the company's employees, the Xie family would be in trouble. The continuous deaths would push the Xie family to the forefront. That was what Xie Yuan was worried about now. He was not afraid of the Ghost King coming to the Xie family, but he was afraid that the Ghost King would do that. Ning Shu was feeling a little unwell. He had just performed a ritual to release his female boss's soul, so he was feeling very uncomfortable now. He said to Xie Yuan, "Let's go back first." Xie Yuan started the car, and Ning Shu sat in the front passenger seat. Xie Yuan, who was driving, suddenly stepped on the brakes. The car suddenly stopped, making a sharp sound as it rubbed against the ground. Ning Shu's body suddenly leaned forward. Ning Shu felt a sharp pain in his heart, and his face turned pale. "Why did you suddenly stop the car?" Ning Shu asked angrily. Xie Yuan said, "I just saw a person standing in the middle of the road, so I stepped on the brakes." Ning Shu rolled his eyes and was a little speechless. No one in poor health would be able to see a ghost in broad daylight. Ning Shu stuck a talisman on Xie Yuan's body. "Straighten your chest. Don't be afraid of him. Don't be afraid of any demons or ghosts." After returning to the villa, Ning Shu walked into the living room and saw an old man in a Taoist robe with his hair tied up in a bun. He was holding a canvas in his hand, and on it was a drawing of the 8 trigrams of yin and yang. Below it was written, "Guide the lost gentleman, free the long-troubled chest." He looked travel-worn. At this moment, he was talking to Xie Weiming and stroking his white beard from time to time. Ning Shu was pleasantly surprised. He quickly walked over and said, "Master, why are you here? Shouldn't the old man be thousands of miles away? Why did he suddenly appear here?" The old man turned around and looked at Ning Shu. Seeing that Ning Shu's face was a little pale, he asked, "Are you injured?" The old man took Ning Shu's wrist and checked his pulse. He squinted at Ning Shu and said, "Why are you in such a sorry state?" Ning Shu asked, "Why are you here? Where are junior brothers and sisters? Why did you abandon them and come here? What if something happened to them? Okay, stop arguing. I've already arranged for your junior brothers and sisters to stay at a farmer's house," the old man said. "I've been on tenterhooks recently. I felt that something had happened to you, so I came to take a look." Ning Shuang let out a sigh. "What's wrong with you? Didn't I tell you not to fight with powerful ghosts head-on?" The old man said angrily. He took out a pill and gave it to Ning Shu. "Take it." Ning Shu hesitantly took the pill. He thought of the compass and told the old man about the anomaly of the compass at that time. A dragon flew out of the compass. The old man touched his chin and said, "This compass is a magic artifact of the founder. He found many dragon veins, and the compass absorbed the dragon chi. It's normal for such a situation to occur. It's a blessing for Mao Mountain that you can drive out the dragon chi of the compass," the old man said while stroking his beard. "The position of sect master will be handed over to you from now on." Ning Shu was speechless. What was so good about being the sect master? He had to be responsible for the livelihood of his family. He couldn't show off. People would say that he was a Taoist of Mao Mountain was a liar. "Master, I feel at ease now that you're here," Xie Weiming said. "The situation is so bad now. Something happened to my company's employees." The old man said, "Well, Master, don't worry. After this matter is solved, I'll definitely help you rebuild the Taoist temple and donate a large sum of money to the Taoist temple. Xia Weiming just wanted to solve this matter as soon as possible. If something happened to his employees again, he was afraid that the judicial authorities would intervene and investigate the company. It would definitely be a major blow to the company's reputation. The company would not be able to continue operating. The old man said, I'll go to each house to perform the ritual. Don't worry. Thank you, master. Xia Weiming let out a long breath. Xia Weiming asked the servant to prepare a room for the old man for the Taoist priest. During dinner, Ning Shu and the old man basically finished all the dishes on the table. Xia Yuan was stunned. How poor was this Taoist temple? Why did everyone eat like hungry ghosts? After dinner, the old man went to perform the ritual at his employee's house without hesitation. Xia Weiming went with the old man. Before leaving, the old man Ning Shu said, Have a good rest and heal your wounds. Ning Shu nodded. Master, be careful. The Ghost King is very powerful. The old man said, I know. Xia Yuan and Ning Shu stayed in the villa. Xia Yuan said to Ning Shu, Your master is really a sentimental person. Ning Shu squinted at him and planned to go back to his room to practice. Seeing that Ning Shu had left, Xia Yuan quickly followed Ning Shu. What are you doing? Ning Shu asked. Xia Yuan touched his nose and said, I think we should stay together. If we separate, the Ghost King will attack us one by one. Does he need to attack us one by one? Even if we stay together, we won't be able to defeat him. Ning Shu was speechless. I'm going to my room. Why are you following me? Well, I'll go with you. Xia Yuan didn't wait for Ning Shu's consent and went into Ning Shu's room. Ning Shu was speechless. Why was he so scared? Ning Shu ignored him and began to set up the spirit gathering array. Only with enough spiritual energy could he repair the damaged heart meridian. Xia Yuan watched Ning Shu perform the Dharma incantation over and over again. He felt that this woman was really stupid. When the spirit gathering array was completed, Ning Shu quickly sat cross-legged on the floor to practice. Xia Yuan simply lay on the bed and slept. He hadn't had a good sleep for a long time. He was either possessed or threatened by ghosts. He was so tired that his heart was about to explode. The room was quiet. Ning Shu channeled his qi to the heart meridian, and his qi slowly repaired his heart. Ning Shu was a little anxious. The current calm was just the calm before the storm. Song Shihan's body was not in good condition now, so Feng Yin couldn't cause trouble for them. Chapter 756. Feng Yin's strength had decreased, but he was still not someone she could deal with, especially now that she was injured. The injury to her heart had affected her cultivation progress, but the pill that the old man had given her had some effect. It made her heart hurt less. While Ning Shu was anxious, Feng Yin could be said to be burning with anxiety. Last time, Song Shihan had been possessed by 10,000 ghosts. Now she was in a state where her soul was about to be destroyed. Feng Yin was extremely anxious. If Song Shihan had died a normal death, she might have been able to stay with him as a ghost. But now that Song Shihan had died, her soul had been destroyed. Song Shihan would no longer exist in this world. Song Shihan could not be reincarnated as a human, and he would never be able to find her again. Therefore Song Shihan could not die. She must not die. Feng Yin's face was as gloomy as water. His body was surrounded by a black aura. Looking at Song Shihan, who was like a living corpse, he was filled with regret. If he had known, he would not have been in such a hurry to perform the rites with Song Shihan. That way, she would not have been surrounded by Yin energy. When he had found Song Shihan, he should have killed her and turned her into a ghost. If he had given her the Ghost King elixir, she would definitely have become a powerful ghost. She would not have become a half-human, half-ghost creature like she was now. If he killed Song Shihan now, without a body, her soul would still be destroyed. Even the Ghost King elixir would be useless. The Ghost King elixir suppressed her soul and prevented it from being destroyed, but it could not give her powerful strength. This was the punishment of the heavens. Humans and demons were different, and humans and ghosts were different. Humans and ghosts were different from each other. Feng Yin's heart was filled with regret. He held Song Shihan's hand tightly. 1,000 years ago, you died in front of me. This time, I will not allow you to disappear in front of me. If you die, I will kill everyone related to you and let them die with you. Feng Yin's handsome face was filled with coldness. When he spoke of killing people, it was as if he had stepped on an insignificant ant. Whoever caused you to be like this, I will not let them off. Feng Yin lowered his head and kissed Song Shihan's forehead. Then, he continued to channel energy into Song Shihan's body to repair it. Without the support of the Ghost King pill, Feng Yin's soul body no longer had a source of energy. After transferring energy to Song Shihan, his soul looked a lot weaker. Feng Yin channeled energy to Song Shihan every day, allowing her to slowly wake up. Song Shihan woke up and saw Feng Yin. Seeing that his face was bleeding, she hurriedly asked, Feng Yin, what happened to you? Song Shihan had slept for a few days, so her voice was very hoarse when she spoke. Song Shihan couldn't help but cover her throat. Feng Yin reached out and sucked the cup of water from the table into his hand. He fed Song Shihan 2 cups of water. Song Shihan kept looking at Feng Yin worriedly. What's wrong with you? Song Shihan reached out and touched Feng Yin's face. It was sticky to the touch, and her fingertips were stained with sticky blood. Song Shihan quickly grabbed Feng Yin's arm and asked anxiously, Are you injured? Why is there so much blood on your face? Feng Yin's face was filled with joy as he said in a gentle voice, It's nothing. Something went wrong during my cultivation. I promise you that I will never leave your side again. Feng Yin hugged Song Shihan and apologized in a low voice. I'm sorry that I hurt you. Song Shihan rubbed her face against Feng Yin's chest and said in a hoarse voice, No, I don't blame you. You saved me. Song Shihan thought back to that night. Many ghosts had gathered in her apartment. She felt like she was in hell. Countless ghosts had rushed into her body, screaming strangely and excitedly. They had fought and tore her body apart. They had treated her body as a battlefield. Song Shihan felt like she was going to be torn into countless pieces. Recalling the scene, Song Shihan's body trembled. She deeply realized that she couldn't go back. The peaceful life of the first 20 years was gone. She could only rely on Feng Yin now. Without Feng Yin, she could only be devoured by other ghosts. Without the Ghost King elixir, she would completely disappear. She was in a dilemma. She had only wanted to be in a relationship. Who had she offended? Why did it have to be so thrilling? Song Shihan hugged Feng Yin tightly. Feng Yin, don't leave me. You're all I have now. Without Feng Yin, she would be annihilated in a matter of minutes. A smile appeared on Feng Yin's face. Fresh blood streaked across his face, making his smile look abnormally evil. He said, In this world, only the two of us can rely on each other. Shihan, I'm the one who loves you the most. I've waited for thousands of years just to be with you. Song Shihan buried herself in Feng Yin's arms and frowned. From now on, was she going to live a life where ghosts would chase after her wherever she went? Even if she stayed at home, ghosts would still chase after her? Was there no peaceful life to be had? Song Shihan bit her lip. Couldn't she live an ordinary life and spend time with the person she loved? Humans were greedy. A peaceful life was like a pool of stagnant water. They wanted an exciting life. Song Shihan was so excited that she fell in love with a ghost. Now that she was being chased by thousands of ghosts, she felt that a peaceful life was precious. Song Shihan couldn't help but ask Feng Yin, Do I always have to be like this? Feng Yin hugged her tightly and said firmly, I will protect you. Even if I turn into ashes, I will still be in front of you. The blood on Feng Yin's face dripped onto Song Shihan's hair. It was very sticky and made Song Shihan very uncomfortable. When the old man and Xia Weiming returned from the staff's house, it was already night time. Ning Shu had been waiting in the living room for the old man to return. Seeing that the old man had returned safely, Ning Shu heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. Ning Shu didn't doubt the old man's abilities. Feng Yin was really too powerful. In the original plot, Feng Yin had killed his way to the Taoist temple, and the old man had been killed by him. Master, how was it? Ning Shu handed the old man a cup of water. The old man gulped down the water and said, I set up the array. If the Ghost King really went, I would definitely know. Ning Shu nodded and asked the old man, Master, Do you still have the medicine that you gave me last time? Ning Shu felt that the medicine was quite useful. After using it together, her heart didn't hurt as much anymore. The old man gave Ning Shu a bottle. Ning Shu opened it and saw that it was filled with pills the size of a fingernail. After dinner, Ning Shu discussed with the old man. Master, should we take advantage of the Ghost King's weakened strength to kill him? Even if we can't kill him, we can weaken his strength. The old man chewed on an apple, his cheeks full. He said, the problem is that we might not be able to do it. If we don't do it well, we might not be able to come back. Ning Shu sighed. It was indeed difficult with just the two of them. If they really couldn't do it, they could use the human wave tactic. Chapter 757. Ning Shu's eyes lit up, and he asked the old man, Master, is there no one powerful in the Maoshan sect? The North Maoshan sect has declined, but what about the South Maoshan sect? There are people as powerful as you, Master. No, no, no. The old man shook his head, causing the Taoist bun on his head to sway. I don't want to hang out with those people from the South Maoshan sect. Those guys are all drug addicts, and they're greedy. If I were to call them over, that old man Gu would laugh at me. Our founder is the true founder of the Maoshan sect, the old man said with his chest puffed out. The founder of the South Maoshan sect was a famous alchemist in history, Gu Hong. As such, it was a tradition for the Taoist priests of the South Maoshan sect to take drugs, pills, or supplements to strengthen their bodies. The North Maoshan sect focused on the integration of spells and nature. The old man looked down on the Taoist priests of the South Maoshan sect. While the North Maoshan sect had declined, the South Maoshan sect was developing well by combining certain aspects with modern health concepts. The prosperity of the South Maoshan sect made the old man grit his teeth and curse in his heart, but he still put on a sage-like appearance. Master, what's the situation now? It'd be best if we could get Master Gu here. I've offended the Ghost King, and he won't rest until I'm dead, Ning Shu said. The Master Gu that Ning Shu mentioned was the sect master of the South Maoshan sect. It was said that he was not weak, and he specialized in treating the health of the rich and high-ranking officials. The South Maoshan sect was so rich that they could not even fill their stomachs. There was nothing they could do about it in the age of Dharma's end. Master, when this is over, we'll apply for an intangible cultural heritage from the country and get a subsidy from the country, Ning Shu said. What we're doing is considered a superstition. It's fine as long as the government doesn't do anything to us, but they'll still give us a subsidy, the old man said unhappily. Master, if we really can't do it, let's practice a set of health boxing. Blah 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 blah. It'll definitely work. You'll be able to hold your head high in front of Master Gu that way, Ning Shu said. The old man pursed his lips and said plainly, that old man has no skills at all. All he does is take drugs every day. Master, Ning Shu couldn't help but shout. Let's kill the Ghost King first. Alright, I'll contact him, Laozi said. As long as you tell him there's a Ghost King Dan, he'll definitely rush over. The old man took out a notebook from his cloth bag and flipped through the contact information. He then picked up the phone in the living room and dialed it. The old man's tone was dry as he said aloud, Old Gu, I met a Ghost King here, and he has a Ghost King Dan. Didn't you always want to use the Ghost King Dan? Come here. After saying that, the old man hung up the phone. He was elegant and cold. As soon as he hung up the phone, he cursed. I don't want to see that unlucky old man at all. 2 days later, the sect master of South Mao Mountain, Martial Uncle Gu, arrived. Old man Gu was sent over by a special plane. Martial Uncle Gu had a head full of white hair, but his complexion was ruddy. There were no wrinkles on his face at all. He had white hair and a youthful complexion. He was wearing an exquisite dark red tang suit. He looked very healthy and energetic. Ning Shu quickly went over and bowed. Greetings, Martial Uncle Gu. Martial Uncle Gu laughed heartily. You must be a big girl. I haven't seen you in years, and you've already become a big girl. Xia Weiming and Xia Yuan also greeted Martial Uncle Gu very politely. Humph. The old man sitting on the sofa snorted coldly. Martial Uncle Gu walked over to the old man and sat beside him. The old man's shabby Taoist robes made him look even more lonely. One was high-spirited and elegant, while the other carried the mark of life. Old Tao, where is the ghost King Dan you mentioned? Let me see it. Martial Uncle Gu didn't hold back. The old man rolled his eyes. Call me Senior Brother Tao. The ghost King Dan is obviously with the ghost king. Do you want me to give it to you for free? Dream on. How much is it? I'll give you the money, Martial Uncle Gu said as he took out a check. The old man immediately sneered. You're rich. I don't care about your stinky money. As a Taoist priest of Mao Mountain, you changed your name and started a company. You're deceiving your master. Then what do you want? Let me see the ghost King Dan. Martial Uncle Gu said. I won't let you see it. What can you do? The old man said with his neck sticking out. Ning Shu. Ning Shu had a sense of déjà vu when he saw the two domineering CEOs and their dainty wives online. He wiped his sweat and explained the whole story to Old Man Gu. Martial Uncle Gu heard and glanced at the old man. After all this time, the ghost King Dan isn't with you, Martial Uncle Gu said as he put away the check. He didn't plan to write a check for the old man. The old man looked at the check and said, You people of South Mao Mountain have too much money to burn. If you have the ability, write me a check. Martial Uncle Gu said with a smile. It's good to give some relief to those in the same trade. Who wants your relief? Even if you kneel down and ask me to take your money, I won't take it, the old man said with a red face. Martial Uncle Gu put away the check. I knew Senior Brother was someone who wouldn't bend over for 5 buckets of rice. The old man was so angry that his chest heaved. When I was young, I was better off than you. Senior Brother, the times are changing. Don't wear such clothes. Martial Uncle Gu twisted the old man's wide sleeve. The old man snatched back his sleeve. What I wear is none of your business. Ning Shu. How long are they going to quarrel? Ning Shu said to Martial Uncle Gu. This time I asked Martial Uncle for help. The Ghost King has lost its Ghost King Dan, and its strength has decreased. This is a good opportunity. The old man looked at Martial Uncle Gu and said reluctantly, I'll give you the Ghost King Dan when the time comes. Martial Uncle Gu thought for a moment. I'll do my best. After all, it's not easy for a Ghost King Dan to appear. It was not easy for a ghost to cultivate a Ghost King Dan. It could only be born at the right time and the right place. That's good. Ning Shu smiled. Get ready. We'll go tomorrow. Okay. Martial Uncle Gu asked the old man. Senior Brother Tao, have you met the Ghost King? How's his strength? No, we'll test it out tomorrow. The old man's expression became serious when they talked about business. While Martial Uncle Gu and the old man were talking, Ning Shu went upstairs to prepare the things. Xia Yuan followed behind Ning Shu and asked, Is the person who just arrived also a Maoshan Taoist? Yes. Ning Shu nodded. Why are they so different? Xia Yuan scratched his head. Ning Shu glanced at Xia Yuan. If my master hears you, he'll kill you. Ning Shu put the spirit pearl and the compass in the cloth bag and carefully checked the tools in the bag. Tomorrow's activity was just to test Feng Yin's strength. It would be better if he could eliminate Feng Yin. Xia Yuan looked worried. If we provoke the Ghost King, we'll all be in trouble. Xia Yuan felt miserable. Why did this happen to his family? Chapter 758. Xia Yuan was worried that the Ghost King would involve more people. The side effects of tomorrow's test would be a little scary. Do you think the Ghost King will harm the company's employees? Xia Yuan asked. Ning Shu nodded. It's totally possible. If he could kill people to accompany them to their graves, he wouldn't mind killing a few employees at all. Wasn't Feng Yin afraid of karma? Why don't we go after some time? I want to make arrangements for the company's employees, Xia Yuan said with deep melancholy between his eyebrows. The Xia family had compensated his female boss with a sum of money, so that the matter wouldn't be blown out of proportion. The father and son of the Xia family felt bitterness in their mouths. Now is the best time. The Ghost King is weaker than before. If we hesitate, we will miss the opportunity. We are in the same boat now. The Ghost King has put us on his kill list. No one can escape, Ning Shu said. Ning Shu checked the things in the cloth bag to see if the talisman paper was damaged. At noon the next day, when the yang energy was at its peak, Ning Shu, the old man, and Uncle Master Ge went out. They took Uncle Master Ji's car to Song Shihan's apartment. Uncle Master Ge rolled down the car window and looked around the apartment. He exclaimed, "What a strong yin energy! The magnetic field around here is very messy." The old man pinched his fingers and was divining. Ning Shu wiped the cow's tears on his eyelids and said to the two old men, "I'll knock on the door. Follow me." Ning Shu got out of the car and pressed the doorbell. The two old men set up an array around the house. "Who is it?" Song Shihan opened the door and was stunned to see Ning Shu. Feng Yin said coldly, "She is a Taoist priest. Close the door." Song Shihan quickly closed the door. Ning Shu pushed the door open and went into the room. The two old men also came in. Song Shihan saw Ning Shu and the other two and was furious. "What is the meaning of this? Shihan, come here." Feng Yin stood in the living room, his face cold. "I didn't look for you, but you came to me on your own accord." Song Shihan ran to Feng Yin's side and looked at Ning Shu warily. "You're a Taoist priest? You're actually a Taoist priest?" Song Shihan's pale face was filled with anger. Thinking of the amulet she had given her, Song Shihan couldn't help but ask, "You approached me on purpose?" Ning Shu ignored Song Shihan and kept sizing up Feng Yin. Feng Yin's soul was weaker now. Previously, his soul had been as solid as a real person's, but now it was a little transparent. After losing the Ghost King Dan and the 9 astral fire, the current Feng Yin was much easier to deal with than before. The two old men Ning Shu nodded. Feng Yin had a thick black aura around him. He turned to Song Shihan and said, "Go to the bedroom. Don't come out." Song Shihan grabbed Feng Yin tightly. "But I'm worried about you." "It's fine," Feng Yin said. "In this world no one can deal with me." His words were extremely arrogant. Although Song Shihan trusted Feng Yin, when she thought of the blood dripping from his face, she vaguely understood that Feng Yin's situation wasn't good, especially since he had given her the Ghost King Dan. Song Shihan was infuriated. She stood in front of Feng Yin and shouted at Ning Shu, "I'll be with whoever I want. I'll date whoever I want. You meddlesome Taoist priests. You're using the slogan of eliminating evil to protect the Tao. Why are you doing this for the Tao? How disgusting. What does my relationship with Feng Yin have to do with you?" Song Shihan's face was full of sarcasm. "It's as if what you're doing is clean. You're so free that you're meddling in other people's business." When Ning Shu heard Song Shihan's tirade, he said coldly, "Who the hell cares who you date? It's none of our business whether you date ghosts or animals." They didn't want to take a second look at their love. Feng Yin wanted to kill them. Were they not allowed to resist? Feng Yin pushed Song Shihan behind him and looked at Ning Shu coldly. "You think you can deal with me just because you found 2 helpers? You're too naive." Ning Shu reached into his cloth bag and took out a talisman. Holding it between his fingers, he chanted an incantation, and the talisman flew towards Feng Yin. Feng Yin frowned and dodged the talisman. Ning Shu cast an incantation, and the talisman floated in the air and stuck to Feng Yin's body. The talisman touched Feng Yin's soul, and black smoke billowed out of Feng Yin's body. Feng Yin couldn't understand why the talisman was harmful to him. It wasn't that he hadn't met Taoist priests before, but the talisman was useless to him. When Song Shihan saw the talisman on Feng Yin's body, her eyes turned red. She reached out and pulled the talisman away. When Song Shihan's fingers touched the talisman, it made a sizzling sound, and the air was filled with a burning smell. Strictly speaking, Song Shihan was a ghost now. The talisman was harmful to her. "Go into the house. Don't worry about me." Feng Yin shouted at Song Shihan with bloodshot eyes. Song Shihan bit her lips and ran into the bedroom. Ning Shu didn't care about Song Shihan. Without Feng Yin, he didn't know what Song Shihan's fate would be. The 3 people and 1 ghost faced each other. The 2 old men cast spells and used all kinds of exorcism tools. Feng Yin easily dodged them. Feng Yin looked like he dodged them easily. But on the other hand, Feng Yin was afraid of these things coming into contact with his soul. If he was the cool and domineering person he used to be, he wouldn't have dodged at all. He would have just destroyed these tools. Feng Yin's body exploded with boundless yin qi, causing the entire room to turn dark. It was like ink, making it hard for people to see their surroundings. The old man chanted an incantation at the side and lit a lamp. The flame was small, but the yin qi in the surroundings slowly dissipated. Feng Yin's face was ferocious. He took the opportunity to strangle Ning Shu's neck. Waves of powerful yin qi flowed through Feng Yin's cold hands and into her body. Ning Shu felt as if his body was about to explode. His mind was in a mess. Feng Yin's eyes were filled with disgust and hatred for Ning Shu. Obviously he hated Ning Shu. Feng Yin hated this woman the most. Girl. The old man's expression was ugly. He threw the lamp in his hand at Feng Yin. Uncle Master Ge cast a spell at the side, dispelling the black yin qi in the room. You have guts to meddle in my business. Countless Taoists have died at my hands. Blood appeared on Feng Yin's face. Drops of blood flowed down his jade-white cheeks. I'm going to extract your soul and put it in a puppet for Shihan to play with, Feng Yin said viciously. Ning Shu listened to Feng Yin's words. It was really ruthless. Becoming a puppet was an endless pain. Pricking with needles, stabbing with knives, tearing off limbs, and drowning in water. These pains were very real. The soul had to endure these pains, but it wouldn't really die. It was a fate worse than death. Chapter 759. Ning Shu's neck was being choked by Feng Yin. Her entire body seemed to be frozen, and she couldn't move. She didn't understand why Feng Yin liked to choke people. Perhaps it was because he felt a sense of accomplishment when he saw a life disappear from his fingertips. He was the master of all lives. Seeing Feng Yin's mouth open and close, Ning Shu activated the qi in his dantian. He reached into the cloth bag and took out the soul pearl, stuffing it into Feng Yin's mouth. Ugh! Feng Yin felt something suddenly stuffed into his mouth. He reached out with his other hand to take out the thing in his mouth. The soul pearl absorbed soul energy. It sensed a strong soul energy and stuck to Feng Yin's mouth. Then it rushed into Feng Yin's body. Feng Yin felt that the soul pearl was absorbing his soul. He was furious. Even though Feng Yin's body was covered by the soul pearl, he still didn't let go of Ning Shu's neck. Ning Shu felt like her lungs were about to explode. Her blood couldn't flow and her face was swollen. If this continued, she would really be finished. Girl. The old man held the peachwood sword in his hand. Ning Shu and Feng Yin rushed over, but Uncle Master Ge held them back. Don't go over. Their magnetic fields are very chaotic. Even if you go over, you won't be able to save her, Uncle Master Ge said in a low voice. His expression was very ugly. Fuck you. It's not your disciple who's being choked. Of course you're not worried. The old man was very anxious. Even if you go over now, you won't be able to get close. Uncle Master Ge was still holding on to the old man's Taoist robe. Ning Shu's vision started to blur. Fortunately, there was spirit energy in her body. Ning Shu made a chuckling sound in her throat. She spat out 3 words with difficulty. Song Shihan. When Feng Yin heard this name, he turned to look in the direction of the bedroom. He realized that the door was locked. Ning Shu seized the opportunity and slashed the peachwood sword at Feng Yin's wrist. Feng Yin's hand trembled. Ning Shu took out the compass with her other hand and used all her strength to smash it at Feng Yin's head. The compass emitted a golden light, causing Feng Yin to take 2 steps back. Cough, cough, cough. Ning Shu covered his neck and coughed violently. The old man quickly came over and stuck a talisman on Ning Shu's body. Ning Shu grabbed a handful of glutinous rice and pressed it against his neck. Sizzling sounds could be heard as black smoke rose from it. Feng Yin's face was dripping with blood. The blood dripped onto the floor, and the room was filled with the sticky stench of blood. Feng Yin's soul was even thinner than before. He looked at Ning Shu and the other 2 sinisterly with bloodshot eyes. Ning Shu held the compass in his hand and channeled his spirit qi into it. The compass glowed with a golden light. Feng Yin looked warily at the compass in Ning Shu's hand. He still had to divert some of his energy to resist the bead in his body. This unknown bead was absorbing his soul energy, like a leech sucking blood, sticking to his body. The light from the compass grew brighter, dispersing the yin qi in the room. A golden dragon whizzed out of the compass and charged at Feng Yin. Do you see that? This is something left behind by the ancestral master. It's a golden dragon, made from the dragon vein energy. Do you see that? Do you see that? The old man said smugly to Uncle Master Ge. Uncle Master Ge looked at the golden dragon in surprise. He sneered and said, "It's not like you made it. A great master produces a great disciple. This is called the pupil surpassing the master." The old man stroked his beard and was extremely smug. Ning Shu saw that the two old men were still bickering even at a time like this. He said in a hoarse voice, "Master, let's attack him together. He won't be able to hold on any longer." Ning Shu glanced in the direction of the bedroom and shouted, "He's about to turn into ashes." Indeed, in the next moment, Song Shihan quickly opened the bedroom door and saw a golden dragon colliding with Feng Yin's soul. Feng Yin's body faded at a speed visible to the naked eye. Song Shihan's heart trembled violently as she hurriedly ran to Feng Yin's side. Feng Yin's face was dripping with blood. His expression was cold as he said, "Go into the room." Feng Yin, Feng Yin. Song Shihan cried out Feng Yin's name as tears streamed down her face. Feng Yin pushed Song Shihan into his body, afraid that Ning Shu and company would hurt her. Feng Yin forced himself to calm down and said to Song Shihan, "I'm fine." Song Shihan tugged on Feng Yin's long sleeve tightly as she glared at Ning Shu and company. "Don't go too far." Ning Shu touched his neck. "Damn, why didn't you see when Feng Yin killed people? When others wanted to deal with Feng Yin, you immediately said that they were going too far. That was fucking going too far. Double standards." Ning Shu took out a stack of talisman papers and threw them at Feng Yin. Feng Yin had to protect Song Shihan's body, so he blocked the talisman papers alone. The moment the talisman papers came into contact with his soul started to fade. Although the talismans were of little use and couldn't cause much harm to Feng Yin, their quantity could reach the level of quality. Enough ants could kill an elephant. When Song Shihan saw this scene, she became even more anxious. She said to Feng Yin, "Let's go first." Song Shihan glared at Ning Shu fiercely. "Let's not be calculative with these stupid Taoist priests." It was never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. These Taoist priests were all here for the Ghost King elixir in her body. Blood kept dripping from Feng Yin's face, dripping onto the floor in his red clothes. When he heard Song Shihan's words, he looked at the compass in Ning Shu's hand and the unknown bead in his soul. This bead was absorbing his energy. If this continued, his soul energy would really be absorbed by this bead, something that could even absorb the 9 flames. Feng Yin was filled with fear of this black bead, especially when it was still in his body. It was like an undetachable bomb strapped to his body. Feng Yin also wanted to retreat. He had an idea in his mind, and that was to take the pearl in his body for his own use. It could even absorb the 9 astral flames. If he could obtain such an item, his strength would definitely increase by a lot. Now that Song Shihan was by his side, he had to protect her and couldn't move freely. Feng Yin hugged Song Shihan and prepared to retreat. However, just as he flew out of the house, something seemed to block his head, and he couldn't leave the apartment. Ning Shu sneered. How could the immortal binding array escape so easily? This time, no matter what, he had to destroy Feng Yin. This time, if he ran away and hid in the dark, he wouldn't be able to find him. That would be endless trouble. The immortal binding array sucked away all the spirit qi in Ning Shu's body, causing his dantian to throb with pain. Feng Yin tried a few times but couldn't get out. His pupils constricted, and he couldn't help but rage. Song Shihan hurriedly asked, "Feng Yin, what's going on?" "We can't get out," Feng Yin said in a low voice. "Then what should we do?" Song Shihan was on the verge of tears. Although she was anxious, her face was still pale, without a trace of blood. Feng Yin hugged Song Shihan tightly. "I won't let anything happen to you." Chapter 760. Feng Yin and Song Shihan were trapped in the room by the immortal binding array. The two old men saw this as a good opportunity, so they used all sorts of Taoist spells and methods. Some of the tricks were useless against Feng Yin, but they were useful against the half-human, half-ghost Song Shihan. Just a little exorcism was enough to make Song Shihan feel terrible. For example, Uncle Master Gu used glutinous rice and a boy's urine to splash on Song Shihan. When it splashed on her skin began to smoke and rot as though it had been splashed with sulfuric acid. Ah! Song Shihan covered her festering skin and couldn't help but cry out. Feng Yin was fighting Ning Shu and the old man. He had to deal with all sorts of attacks. When he heard Song Shihan's voice, he immediately went into a daze and blocked the attacks for her. The glutinous rice and boy's urine splashed on Feng Yin's soul, causing his body to emit a thick black aura. The baleful Yin aura leaked out of his body uncontrollably. Ning Shu held the peachwood sword and took the old man's finger. He bit the old man's finger and smeared the blood on the peachwood sword. Ning Shu chanted an incantation, and the peachwood sword flew towards Feng Yin. It pierced through Feng Yin's soul, causing it to fade. Ning Shu conjured another incantation, and the peachwood sword spun in the air before stabbing at Feng Yin again. This time, Feng Yin pulled Song Shihan and dodged. However, the peachwood sword brushed past Song Shihan's face, leaving a bloody mark. However, no blood flowed out. Song Shihan covered her face as her face turned paler. She clutched Feng Yin's clothes tightly, not knowing what to do. Clearly, Feng Yin's current situation made Song Shihan even more helpless. Song Shihan relied on Feng Yin, the omnipotent Feng Yin. Now Feng Yin couldn't take her away, and was being chased by 3 Taoists. This made Song Shihan very anxious. She could only stick close to Feng Yin. However, Feng Yin's current situation was very bad. He was being attacked one after another, and had to protect Song Shihan. He was being restrained in every way. He would rather be injured than see Song Shihan get injured, and cause his soul to weaken. The soul pearl in his body was absorbing his strength. The weaker Feng Yin was, the faster the soul pearl would absorb him. Ning Shu straightened her face and stopped probing Feng Yin. The immortal binding array could not be maintained for long. If this dragged on and Feng Yin escaped, she might fail her mission. Ning Shu took out the compass and poured the spirit qi in his body into the compass. The compass erupted with an intense golden light, and 2 golden dragons roared out. Feng Yin's face was so dark that water could be squeezed out of it. His pupils trembled as he watched the 2 golden dragons whizzing towards him. The living room was only so big, and he didn't know where to run to. The living room was a mess, and many things were broken in the fight. Feng Yin pushed Song Shihan away, intending to take on the 2 golden dragons head-on. Feng Yin's body emitted a dense yin qi, intending to corrode the 2 golden dragons. The golden dragons charged towards Feng Yin without a care. With a loud boom, the golden dragon crashed into Feng Yin's soul. Feng Yin! Song Shihan cried out mournfully. Feng Yin! Ning Shu saw that Feng Yin's soul had become very transparent after being hit by the golden dragons. Song Shihan wanted to hug him, but her hand passed through his body. Feng Yin's body was no longer as solid as before. He was now so weak that he couldn't even withstand a single blow. Song Shihan cried out Feng Yin's name with all her might. She wanted to hug him, but she hugged nothing. Song Shihan's eyes were red, and there was an intense uneasiness in them. Her face was contorted. Feng Yin's soul was getting fainter and fainter. The soul pearl in his soul was crazily absorbing Feng Yin's strength. Feng Yin's eyes were also starting to blur. His lips moved, but he couldn't say a word. He was so weak now that he couldn't communicate with anyone. Feng Yin, don't leave me. Song Shihan wailed, her body filled with despair and helplessness. Feng Yin wanted to reach out and touch Song Shihan's face to wipe away her tears, but his hand passed through her face. Ning Shu looked at the scene in front of him expressionlessly. He held the talisman between his fingers, and the talisman flew towards Feng Yin. It stuck to Feng Yin's body, and instantly, Feng Yin's soul became transparent. In the end, it was completely absorbed by the soul pearl. Feng Yin disappeared. He didn't even have time to say a word to Song Shihan. The soul pearl floated in the air, and it became even darker. Ning Shu reached out his hand, and the soul pearl flew into his palm. Ning Shu held the soul pearl, and heaved a sigh of relief. Feng Yin was finally gone. Song Shihan stared blankly as the soul pearl flew into Ning Shu's hand. She crazily rushed over to Ning Shu. Give me the soul pearl. Feng Yin is inside. Give it to me, give it to me. Song Shihan's face was filled with tears. She wanted to snatch the soul pearl from Ning Shu's hand like a madwoman. Ning Shu pushed Song Shihan away, and she fell to the ground. Her face was filled with hatred. You killed Feng Yin. You killed my Feng Yin. Song Shihan's eyes were bloodshot, and blood-red veins appeared on her face. You people! Why did you kill Feng Yin? I want to be with Feng Yin. So what if I'm with a ghost? Ning Shu put away the compass and soul pearl. His body was exhausted. The dark yin qi had entered his body, and he felt like he couldn't even lift his hand. I want to avenge Feng Yin, you murderers. Song Shihan's eyes became even redder, and a strong dark yin qi emerged from her body. You people who killed Feng Yin will all die a horrible death. The blood-red veins on Song Shihan's face became denser. She floated up, and her hair flew in the wind. Long, sharp black nails grew out of her hands. Oh no, she's going to turn into a ghost, the old man exclaimed. She's activating the power of the Ghost King elixir. Ning Shu didn't say anything. He picked up his peachwood sword, grabbed Song Shihan's ankle, and pulled her down. Ning Shu pressed down on Song Shihan's body, and the peachwood sword stabbed into Song Shihan's heart. Black, sticky blood spurted out. Ah! Song Shihan screamed. Her blood-red eyes stared at Ning Shu, and her long black nails dug into Ning Shu's body. Ning Shu was in excruciating pain. The old man took a knife and cut off Song Shihan's wrist. Song Shihan's face twisted in pain, and a strong dark yin qi exploded from her body. Uncle Master Gu took a knife and cut off Song Shihan's neck. Even with her neck cut off, Song Shihan's body was still moving. Her severed head rolled to the side, but she was still talking. You murderers, I want to avenge Feng Yin. The body that Ning Shu was pressing down on grew stronger and stronger. It actually flipped Ning Shu over, and the headless body stood up. She picked up her head and put it back on her neck. The hand that had been cut off by the old man was also reattached, and it was in perfect condition. Ning Shu. Degree? Damn, what was going on? Why couldn't he kill Song Shihan? Chapter 761. Song Shihan, who had a negative combat power of 5, had activated the power of the Ghost King elixir after Feng Yin's death. Now, she had become an unkillable monster. Even a broken arm, broken leg, and a decapitated head could be reattached. This made Ning Shu kneel and write the word admiration in capital letters. Master, what do we do now? Ning Shu was exhausted. He had killed Feng Yin, but Song Shihan had turned into a ghost and couldn't be killed. This mission had progressed from killing Feng Yin to killing Feng Yin and his wife. She had already used all her skills to kill Feng Yin. Now Song Shihan was involved. Her power comes from the Ghost King elixir. With the Ghost King elixir, she's immortal. The old man frowned. She's not easy to deal with. Now Song Shihan's threat was no less than Feng Yin's. So now, there was another Song Shihan, who could rival Feng Yin? Song Shihan's face couldn't be looked at anymore. Her meridians were covered in blood. She looked at Ning Shu with bloodshot eyes. You killed Feng Yin. What right do you have to kill Feng Yin? I want you dead. Give me back my Feng Yin. Song Shihan's bloodshot eyes were bleeding, making her face look terrifying. Song Shihan looked at Ning Shu. You approached me on purpose. You didn't have good intentions from the beginning. What right do you have to kill my Feng Yin? What right do you have? Song Shihan kept shouting, what right? As she spoke, the yin energy in the living room became thicker. Ning Shu pursed his lips and didn't say anything. What was the point of talking about this? He might as well rest and prepare for battle. She was in pain all over. Her muscles were strained and her dantian was throbbing. Black smoke was rising from the places where Song Shihan's fingernails had pierced. Waves of yin energy were invading her body. Song Shihan walked over to Ning Shu and said in a hoarse voice, Give me the pearl. Feng Yin is inside. Give me the pearl. Ning Shu held the peachwood sword with both hands and looked at Song Shihan coldly. She couldn't have thought that Feng Yin could come out of the spirit pearl, right? That was impossible. The spirit pearl was filled with pure soul energy, but it could only go in and not out. Feng Yin had no consciousness now. It was just pure soul energy. Feng Yin no longer existed. Song Shihan screamed at the top of her lungs. Give me the bead. Give it to me. Song Shihan screamed as tears streamed down her face. She was in despair. I'm going to kill you, kill you. Without Feng Yin, what would she do? Feng Yin was her entire life. Without Feng Yin, she would have endless years. What was the point of living? Only Feng Yin doted on her wholeheartedly, loved her, and doted on her. She thought that there would never be a man like Feng Yin who would love her again. She also loved someone. Song Shihan felt hopeless. She was already used to having Feng Yin by her side. He was strong and reliable. Feng Yin, Feng Yin, Feng Yin, Song Shihan screamed in her heart. Ning Shu gripped the peachwood sword tightly, taking the initiative to stab Song Shihan's abdomen. All of Song Shihan's power came from the Ghost King Dan. As long as the Ghost King Dan was gone, she would naturally dissipate into thin air. Song Shihan was stabbed in the abdomen by the peachwood sword, but she didn't care at all. She grabbed Ning Shu's cloth bag, only wanting the spirit pearl in Ning Shu's cloth bag. Ning Shu grabbed the talisman paper and stuck it on Song Shihan's body, causing her body to emit black gas. However, she didn't care and stubbornly tried to snatch the cloth bag. Ning Shu said coldly, "Let me tell you, Feng Yin has lost his consciousness. He will never come back to life. He has already become one with this bead. He has become pure energy." Song Shihan was in a daze. She muttered to herself, "Impossible, this is impossible. This is impossible. Feng Yin couldn't have left me. It's impossible." Song Shihan's eyes flowed with tears of blood. She looked extremely miserable. The old man and Uncle Master Ge held down Song Shihan's body. Song Shihan was immersed in the nightmare that Feng Yin would never come back. Her expression was lifeless and hopeless. The old man Ning Shu shouted, "Dig out the Ghost King elixir in her body. Quick, or she will slowly merge with the Ghost King elixir's power and become stronger and stronger." Ning Shu took a dagger and cut open Song Shihan's stomach. Song Shihan's organs were in a state where they had lost their vitality and were about to rot. "Let go of me, let go of me." Song Shihan struggled violently. Ning Shu finally found a white bead in her dantian. Ning Shu held the Ghost King elixir in his hand. "No, no." Song Shihan saw Ning Shu holding the Ghost King elixir that Feng Yin had given her. She immediately screamed, "This is what Feng Yin gave me. This is Feng Yin's." Song Shihan's stomach was cut open, but it didn't take long for it to heal. Clearly, there was still the power of the Ghost King elixir in Song Shihan's body, so she wouldn't die immediately. Song Shihan's body became shriveled. She reached out to take the Ghost King elixir in Ning Shu's hand. Ning Shu said, "Let's go quickly." This was a lawful society. Even if they killed Song Shihan, they couldn't let others see her die at their hands. They couldn't let them be suspected. After leaving the house, Ning Shu strengthened the immortal binding array so that Song Shihan couldn't go out and harm others. There wasn't much power left in her body. After getting into the car, Ning Shu spat out a mouthful of black blood and fainted. "Girl," the old man shouted with heartache. He shouted to Uncle Master Ge, "Hurry up and drive back." Back at the villa, the old man carried Ning Shu on his back. "Taoist, you're back." Xia Weiming saw Ning Shu faint and asked, "What happened?" The old man ignored Xia Weiming and put Ning Shu on the sofa. He took some glutinous rice and applied it to the wound caused by Song Shihan's fingernails. "Don't you have a lot of medicine? Can't you see that my disciple is injured and lying on the ground? Take out some medicine." The old man shouted at Uncle Master Ge. He was furious. "Do you still want the Ghost King elixir?" Uncle Master Ge didn't care about the old man's bad attitude. He took out several bottles of medicine. The old man dissolved the medicine with water and fed it to Ning Shu. The old man's hand trembled as he held the bowl. He looked worried. Xia Yuan saw that the atmosphere was so tense. She wanted to ask about it, but she didn't dare to. When Ning Shu woke up, her head was in severe pain. She couldn't move her body and didn't feel anything. Ning Shu suspected that she was paralyzed. There was an infusion stand beside the bed. The back of her hand was swollen and painful. At this time, the door opened, and the old man came in with the medicine. Seeing that Ning Shu had woken up, the old man was very surprised. "Girl, you're awake." Ning Shu coughed. Her throat was swollen and painful, and her internal organs were in pain. Don't move. You have to rest well. Come and drink the medicine. The old man brought the bowl to Ning Shu's mouth. Ning Shu felt that her mouth was dry, so she drank the entire bowl of medicine. Ning Shu asked, Master, how long have I been sleeping? Where's Song Shihan? You heartless girl. You scared me. You've been sleeping for a week. The old man said, Song Shihan is dead. Her body was found by the police. Does that have anything to do with us? Ning Shu was more concerned about that. Chapter 762. This was a lawful society. If they were implicated in a death, it would be very troublesome. Previously, he had wanted to kill Feng Yin. After all, Feng Yin had died 1,000 years ago. It didn't matter if he was killed. But Song Shihan was different. Ning Shu didn't expect Song Shihan to turn into a ghost and become an immortal monster. He could only kill her. Song Shihan would become stronger and stronger. After losing Feng Yin, she would take revenge without restraint. He had to strike first to gain the upper hand. The old man put down the medicine bowl and said, You are now a suspect. Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu felt that he shouldn't have woken up. He should go back to sleep. The old man said, She didn't die immediately. She wrote a suicide note saying that you killed her. Ning Shu was speechless. She also said that the company worked with you to bully her. Now old Xie has a splitting headache. This suicide note is very harmful to his company. When the police came to find you, I said that you couldn't be the murderer. You were unconscious when something happened to you. How could you be the murderer? The old man said irritably, Master won't let anything happen to you. Ning Shu sighed. Song Shihan really hated him. Even if she died, she wouldn't let him have an easy time. She even dragged the Xie family's company down with her. What an ingrate. The company gave her a job and a salary to live. This was how they dealt with the Xie family. She probably hated the Xie family for hiring a Taoist priest and causing Feng Yin's death. She hated the Xie family as well. Ning Shu felt a headache coming on. But don't worry too much. The forensic doctor said that she has been dead for several months. Her body has already decomposed beyond recognition. The old man comforted Ning Shu. Song Shihan was half human and half ghost. She was only alive because of the Ghost King elixir. Without the support of the Ghost King elixir, her body would only decompose quickly. That was why the forensic doctor said that she had been dead for several months. But at that time, Ning Shu hadn't come to the Xie family yet. After Ning Shu woke up, he was called away by the police and interrogated. The police asked Ning Shu, Why did you come to the Xie family? Why did you come to the company? Ning Shu guessed that the police had already questioned other people before. And now they were only asking her to see if she was lying. Xie Weiming's son Xie Yi is possessed by a ghost. I'm here to treat him, Ning Shu said honestly. What era is it now? What ghost possession? The policeman said disdainfully. Ning Shu faintly said, I don't know if he's possessed by a ghost or not. Maybe it's a psychological effect, so I exorcised him. Ning Shu felt that the yin qi in the police station was quite heavy, but there was enough yang qi and the country's fate to suppress it, so it was in a relatively balanced state. The police officers looked at each other. After all, there was no direct evidence to prove that she had killed someone. The police officers took out a sealed envelope. Inside the sealed envelope was Song Shihan's suicide note. The victim, Song Shihan, said you killed her before she died, the policeman said. Ning Shu was a little speechless. I killed her. How did she write a suicide note? Besides, she's been dead for a few months. And it didn't say why I killed her. This suicide note can't be used as evidence to accuse me of murder, Ning Shu said faintly. There must be a motive for murder. Why would I kill her? What good would it do me? I'm a Taoist priest, and it's impossible for me to have an emotional relationship with her. Therefore, the police officers were helpless. They didn't have enough evidence to prove what Ning Shu said. Then, the employees of the Xie family company who visited the company said that they had seen Song Shihan not long ago, and that the company had a check-in record. The autopsy results showed that the body was from a few months ago, which meant that someone had used some means to decompose the body. What means did you use to decompose the body? Ning Shu asked. Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu regretted not handling this matter properly, so that Song Shihan had the chance to do such a thing before she died. Therefore, in the future, he had to finish off the person who killed. He had to be decisive. Ning Shu said, I'm just a suspect now, not a murderer. I didn't kill Song Shihan. You'd better reinvestigate until you have enough evidence to accuse me of murder. Ning Shu wanted to say that Song Shihan was a ghost, but who would believe that? The police finally let Ning Shu go, but he was not allowed to leave the city. He could be interrogated at any time. Ning Shu walked out of the police station and saw Xie Yuan leaning against the car. Ning Shu walked over. How is it? What did the police ask you? Xie Yuan asked Ning Shu. Ning Shu got into the car and said, They implied that I killed Song Shihan. Xie Yuan said, It's okay. The Xie family will help you. Your company can't even protect itself, and you still have time to care about me. Thank you, Ning Shu said faintly. Xie Yuan suddenly said to Ning Shu, Why don't we get married? Ning Shu thought, You're crazy. How is that possible? I'm going to be the head of Maoshan sect. How can I marry you? Ning Shu said elegantly and coldly. Don't tell me you want me to help you find out which employee in the company has a ghost around him. Xie Yuan touched his nose, which made Ning Shu roll his eyes. It's really because of this incident. If you marry me, I'll help you this time, Xie Yuan said. Ning Shu grinned. He was indeed a businessman. He was good at everything. I'm a Taoist priest. How can a Taoist priest get married? I'll just catch ghosts when the monk hits the sky bell. Why should I get married? Ning Shu sneered. Xie Yuan wanted to use marriage to tie Tao Qin down and make her a treasure for free. Not long ago, he was still lamenting that he fell in love with Song Shihan at first sight. Song Shihan was the woman he wanted to spend the rest of his life with. Now that he was going to marry her, Ning Shu just wanted to give him a big slap in the face. How could he slap himself in the face like this? Moreover, he was so perfunctory, and even used this as an exchange. It was a disguised threat. Ha 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 ha, Ning Shu smirked sinisterly. Xie Yuan swallowed a mouthful of saliva and did not mention marriage again. When they returned to the villa, the old man immediately greeted Ning Shu and comforted him. It's okay. Master can handle this. Ning Shu looked at the old man with some suspicion. Could the old man handle it? What's with that look? When your master was young, he also knew a lot of dignitaries. He was an important guest of the powerful and influential. When the old man saw his disciple looking at him suspiciously, he immediately said, I've already contacted someone before. They'll definitely settle this matter. If not, there's still this damned old man. The old man pointed at Uncle Master Gu and said, This old man also knows a lot of people. Uncle Master Gu coughed. Cough your head. Do you still want the Ghost King elixir? This Ghost King elixir was painstakingly obtained by eldest girl, the old man said angrily. Uncle Master Gu said calmly, Eldest girl is my junior. How can I leave her in the lurch? I've already contacted someone, and there will be news soon. Chapter 763. Xie looked at her father with a complicated expression on her face when she saw that the two old men were about to resolve the matter. Xie Weiming and Xie Yuan shook their heads. Ning Shu said, Master, Xie Yuan said she wants to marry me. Xie Yuan, what the hell? The old man almost jumped up with a look of disbelief on his face. Even Martial Uncle Ge had a look of astonishment on his face. Kid, you won't be able to marry my disciple even in your next life. The old man sneered with a serious expression. He was old and shrewd, so he immediately understood what the Xie family was up to. The old man said coldly, You looked down on my disciple, and didn't even tell me about it. You just told the child. Xie Weiming immediately said, Master, I'm just trying to see if there's anything between the children. As long as Tao Qin is willing to marry into my family, she won't suffer any grievances. Stop, hurry up and stop. The old man quickly waved his hand. My disciple is young and gullible. People in our line of work don't get married. Real Taoist priests don't get married. Xie Weiming said, Master, Tao Qin is a girl. She has to get married and have children. She will be the head of the North Maoshan sect in the future. Why would she get married? She has to take care of a big family and be lonely. She can't even make ends meet. As for children, there are plenty of children in the Taoist temple. My disciple is so talented. How can she be your daughter-in-law? People in this line of work, who reveal the secrets of heaven, are all alone. They can't get married. Don't get any ideas if you don't want to die. The old man pointed at Martial Uncle Gu and said, "Ask him if he's married." The old man snorted coldly. Ning Shu said, "Pack up your things and get ready to go back. I wonder how the children are doing at home." "Master, don't be angry," Xia Weiming said. "We were too rude." "I'm just angry," the old man said bluntly. "Give me the reward this time." Xia Weiming shook his head helplessly and took out the check. The old man said, "I don't want the check. Transfer the money to my account. It's no trouble at all. Go up and pack your things. What are you waiting for?" The old man Ning Shu said. Ning Shu immediately went upstairs to get his cloth bag and changed into the old-fashioned clothes he wore when he came to the city. Downstairs, Ning Shu's martial uncle Go asked, "Martial uncle, are you coming with us?" The Ghost King Dawn that martial uncle Go wanted were still in Ning Shu's hands, so naturally he would go with Ning Shu. He nodded and said, "I'll go with you, see you off." Xia Yuan's expression was complicated. When Ning Shu walked over, the old man immediately stood in front of Ning Shu. "Kid, don't come near my disciple." Xia Yuan stopped in his tracks. Ning Shu said, "Thank you for saving me." Ning Shu said, "It's just business." Ning Shu and the other two left the villa and booked a room at the hotel. They would only leave after this matter was settled. The old man went to the bank to check the accounts and took Ning Shu to buy some clothes for the children at home. It was getting colder every day, so they bought several bags of warm clothes. Someone from the top said that this matter was left unsettled. There was no evidence at all, and even the case was closed. Song Shihan's family went to the Xie family, crying and yelling that they wanted the Xie family to pay with their lives. The Xie family gritted their teeth and gave them a sum of money. The old man knew about this and said faintly, "It's fate to be poor. When the money is gone, people will be happy. Using money to solve the problem is the best result." When they could leave the city, the old man took Ning Shu back to the Taoist temple. Ning Shu gave the Ghost King Dawn to martial uncle Ge. Looking at the snow-white Ghost King Dawn, martial uncle Ge couldn't help but smile. He gave Ning Shu a few bottles of medicine. "These are 100-year-old ginseng pills. There are other pills that are good for your health. Take them." Ning Shu took the bottles and said, "Thank you, martial uncle Ge." "Humph." The old man looked at him and snorted. "You want to exchange a few bottles of medicine for a Ghost King Dawn? Ghost King Dawn are hard to come by in 1,000 years. Old man Ge, you are bullying my disciple." Martial uncle Ge said, "If you have any problems in the future, come to me. If I can help you, I will." The old man straightened his neck and said, "It's not right for an elder to protect the younger generation. Humph, the Ghost King Dawn are not something you can take. Who knows how many ghosts want the Ghost King Dawn in your hands? I hope you can safely return to your nest and don't die on the way. You don't have to worry about that." Martial uncle Ge said calmly, "I bought some things for the younger generation. Take them back." Martial uncle Ge said, as he took a few bags of things from the car and gave them to Ning Shu. Ning Shu looked at the old man. "Master, take them. He has too much money to burn anyway. We are helping him," the old man said. Ning Shu was speechless. The old man was so pretentious. But this was how they got along, mocking each other. Martial uncle Ge put the Ghost King Dawn in a good peachwood box and stuck a talisman on the box. The old man rolled his eyes and said, "Use your blood to draw a talisman. You only know how to take pills all day and don't know how to learn." The old man deliberately cut martial uncle Ji's finger. The cut was a little deep. The old man dipped his finger in martial uncle Ji's blood and drew a talisman on the box. Martial uncle Ge looked at the old man and pressed the wound on his finger. Martial uncle Ge waved to Ning Shu and the old man, then got on the bus and left. Ning Shu dragged a lot of things onto the bus. That girl. The old man looked at Ning Shu with a conflicted expression. Ning Shu asked, "Master, what's wrong? Do you like that kid from the Xie family?" The old man asked Ning Shu. Ning Shu shook his head. "No, that's not it. That's right. Even if you want to get married, you won't marry into the Xie family. Businessmen value profits. That kid from the Xie family wants to marry you because you're useful. You'll only suffer if you marry into the wrong family," the old man said. "I just want to be by your side and be filial to you." Ning Shu had never thought of getting married. "Good child, do your job. If you're a monk, do your best to recite scriptures. If you're a Taoist, do your best to catch ghosts. Don't think about love. That's your destiny. You don't have parents, and your relationship with husband and wife is quite weak. Some things can't be forced. Even if we don't intervene, their love will be bumpy. We don't know what the ending will be," the old man said. Ning Shu smiled and said, "I understand, master." After 2 days and 3 nights on the bus, they finally returned to the countryside. Ning Shu got off the bus with several bags on his shoulders. He looked at the surrounding houses, paddy fields, and mountains. He felt relieved. Living in such a place was still comfortable. After not returning to the Taoist temple for so long, Ning Shu missed it. He still felt that living in a place with beautiful scenery made him feel better. The old man went to pick up the children, who were left at the farmer's house. When the children returned to the Taoist temple, they surrounded Ning Shu and chattered. Chapter 764. Dealing with Feng Yin and Song Shihan had severely injured Ning Shu's body. He could only recuperate slowly. However, the spirit gathering array in the Taoist temple gathered more spirit qi than in the city. He relied on cultivating the ultimate martial arts to slowly repair his damaged meridians. The incident this time made the old man's body not as good as before. He was no longer as energetic as before. The yin qi had entered the old man's body. In addition, his old age had damaged his body. Ning Shu tried to help the old man recuperate. From time to time, he would transfer some spirit qi into the old man's body to repair his body. The old man became a hands-off boss and left everything to Ning Shu. Ning Shu took his junior brother, Tao Sheng, out to perform a ritual. Now that Ning Shu was getting more and more skilled at catching ghosts, Ning Shu could easily deal with ordinary ghosts. Ning Shu left the Yang Gathering Array, the Immortal Binding Array, and the Ultimate Martial Arts behind. Ning Shu told the old man that he had picked up a secret manual and felt that it was quite useful. Moreover, its qi could drive the compass left behind by the founder. The old man immediately stroked his beard and said, "This thing is fated to be with our Maoshan sect. It can strengthen the body. Let the little brats learn it." Ning Shu was speechless. How shameless. The sect will depend on you in the future. I'm old and can enjoy life. The old man stroked his white beard. Ning Shu said, "I will be filial and take good care of my junior brothers and sisters. I will pass down the Maoshan sect." The old man lay comfortably on the recliner and basked in the sun. "I have faith in you." Ning Shu was speechless. After Ning Shu's cultivation day and night, her internal injuries were almost healed. Ning Shu did not expect that Xie Yuan would come to the Taoist temple with a construction team. The old man saw that Xie Yuan was not happy at all. He asked coldly, "What are you doing here?" "Dad said that he would help you rebuild the Taoist temple," Xie Yuan said. "Well, leave the workers here. Hurry up and leave." The old man waved at Xie Yuan. Xie Yuan glanced at Ning Shu and said, "I just want to have a word with Tao Qin." "What's there to say?" The old man looked at Xie Yuan warily. Ning Shu said, "Master, I just want to say a few words to him." The old man clasped his hands behind his back and muttered, "What's there to say? You still have to hide it from Sir." Ning Shu and Xie Yi left the Taoist temple and walked on the muddy road in the village. Xie Yuan plucked a leaf from the roadside and played with it in her hand. She said, "I came here to apologize to you. I was too reckless and not sincere enough." "Oh," Ning Shu replied, "my dad said that you would be a good wife. Actually, when I said that I wanted to marry you, I regretted it. Actually, I don't like you," Xie Yuan said honestly. Ning Shu. Door gods can also keep the house safe. Xie Yuan looked at Ning Shu. This kind of girl was really not her cup of tea. Her dad said that she could keep the house safe, but she was a woman who dealt with ghosts all the time. If he was a man, would he say that he liked her when he covered his heart? Ning Shu looked at Xie Yuan with a smile. You came here this time to tell me this? Although we can't be husband and wife, we can still be friends. We can still keep in touch in the future, Xie Yuan said with a smile. This was a businessman. Xie Yuan meant that they could still cooperate in the future. If he encountered any supernatural incidents, he could still come to her. Ning Shu said with a smile. Of course. There was no reason to let go of money that could be taken advantage of. Xie Yuan's expression relaxed a lot. Ning Shu said heartily, I hope you can be responsible for the workers' food. I will pay you the food expenses when the time comes. Okay. Ning Shu nodded. By the way, do you have any talismans with you? I want to buy some from you, Xie Yuan said. Ning Shu took out 2 pieces of talisman paper from the cloth bag. 2,500 yuan. Xie Yuan paid without bargaining at all. She asked again, Is there anything that can see ghosts? I just want to see if there are ghosts around the company's employees. Song Shihan's situation is very rare, Ning Shu said with a frown. It's not a good thing to see ghosts frequently. You'd better not take the initiative to see them. They didn't live in the same latitude, so they couldn't peek frequently. Xie Yuan scratched her head. Actually, I just want to see if there are ghosts around a girl. Ning Shu looked at Xie Yuan. You have a girlfriend again? It was love at first sight and love at second sight. She was a woman that he wanted to spend the rest of his life with. Xie Yuan said, No, it's a marriage alliance. But I'm a little scared. Ning Shu gave Xie Yuan a bottle of cow's tears and a piece of talisman paper. He said, Put the talisman paper on your body and wipe the cow's tears on your eyelids. You have to see it at night. After you see it, wipe the cow's tears away, okay? 5,000 yuan. Ning Shu stretched out his hand. Xie Yuan reluctantly paid the money and got into the car parked by the side of the road. Ning Shu waved his hand. Ning Shu turned around and went back to the Taoist temple. He saw the old man directing the construction workers. The old man hurriedly asked Ning Shu, What did that kid say? Ning Shu said, He's here to ask for something. He's getting married, and he's afraid that his wife would have something like that around her. Oh, he's getting married. The old man suddenly smiled and felt relaxed. The old man didn't rebuild the Taoist temple. Instead, he asked the construction workers to renovate it. In the spirit of not spending his own money, the old man did not feel distressed at all. He renovated the woodshed until it was brightly lit and covered the floor tiles. Well, the firewood won't get damp this way, the old man said while stroking his beard. Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu's days were very comfortable. If there were religious ceremonies, he would attend them. If there weren't, he would teach his junior brothers and sisters in the Taoist temple. One day, the old man went to the village chief's house and received a call saying that Uncle Master Ge had an accident on his way back. He was still lying in the hospital. The old man gloated and said, I knew it wasn't easy to get the Ghost King elixir. This thing is a rare treasure to ghosts, just like the elixir of immortality. When this thing appears, it will cause a riot. Old Ge really thought that he could get it. Serves him right. Although the old man's words weren't good, Ning Shu could see that he was a little worried. Ning Shu said, Master, do you want us to go and see Uncle Master Ge? Well, let's go and see if he's dead. If he's dead, I'll have to send a wreath, the old man said. Ning Shu also went back to the house to pack up and prepared to go with the old man. She was a little worried about the old man going alone. The old man was old. What if he was beaten up by people on the way? Ning Shu and the old man went to the hospital. Uncle Master Ge was only a little injured, but his life wasn't in danger. The old man was a little disappointed and said, I thought something happened to you. Uncle Master Ge ignored the old man's sarcasm and said, The Ghost King elixir is gone. I said at the time, the Ghost King elixir is a rotten thing. The old man rolled his eyes. Uncle Master Ge's face was full of worry and said, It was taken by a ghost. Won't it create another powerful Ghost King? Chapter 765. Uncle Good didn't even warm up the Ghost King pill before it disappeared. So he wanted to ask the old man to help him find the Ghost King pill. The old man said, "Since this thing slipped away from your hands, it means that you are not fated with it. As for whether you can create something powerful, it depends on the will of the heavens. Don't force it. Don't get yourself into trouble." Marshal Uncle Gus sighed, his expression somewhat gloomy. "If you're fine, I'll go back. Don't even think about getting it back. After all, it's something from the ghost realm. It's a disaster if you keep it in your hands." The old man said and left. Outside the hospital, Ning Shu asked, "Are you sure you don't want to find the Ghost King pill?" "Why would I find it? This kind of thing is arranged by the heavens." The old man said casually, "So what if I find it? Are we going to kill the ghosts?" "No one else carries a great sin. Whether it's a human or a ghost, we can't take the initiative to kill them. Otherwise we will carry a great karma," the old man Ning Shu said. Ning Shu nodded. "I'll remember." That day, Ning Shu and the old man went back to the temple. Ning Shu still lived the life of exorcising evil spirits and teaching his juniors. Because Ning Shu went out to do business, Ning Shu had a bit of a reputation in the villages around the temple. If something happened, they would come to the temple to find Ning Shu. However, Ning Shu let Tao Xing do some of the things that weren't very powerful. Tao Xing was now 16 years old, so it was a good time to learn. Ning Shu also wanted to be lazy like the old man. Ding, quest completed. Do you want to leave the quest world? 2333's voice sounded in Ning Shu's mind. Ning Shu nodded. Yes. I'll take the soul pearl first. Otherwise, your soul will be absorbed by it. 2333 said. Ning Shu nodded, and then went into a trance. When he opened his eyes, he was already in the system space. Ning Shu was a little tired as he laid on the bed. He found that the intermediate quest was much harder than the beginner quest. Ning Shu put the white string of beads on his hand. This was a gift from the shop owner when he bought the Halo of Faith. Wearing the bracelet on his hand, a cool and refreshing feeling calmed him down. This mission had evoked the negative emotions in Ning Shu's heart. If she didn't get rid of these negative emotions, it would definitely affect her ability to complete the mission. Fuck, he had actually gone mad. Ning Shu slapped herself for being so useless. She had suffered so much just to survive, yet she still wanted to commit suicide. Even if she had jumped down from the building, she still had the amulet to resist the power of obliteration. She had wasted a possession amulet. Fortunately, his mind was still clear at that time. Ning Shu lay on the bed, chanting the clear heart mantra in his heart, and slowly fell asleep. After waking up, Ning Shu stretched his body. He was in a surprisingly good mood. He was ready to see the results of this mission. Serial number 2333. Name Ning Shu. Intermediate mission taker. Age 27.6. 15 million/1. 8 million soul value. 300 HP. 71 wisdom. 234 charm. 10 luck. 64 spiritual power. 140 faith. 111420 martial power. 152 aptitude. 59 merit. 104010 skills. 5th ring shooting technique. Trash fighting technique. Beginner peerless martial arts. Beginner poison technique. Beginner business management knowledge. Beginner code programming. Beginner lawyer skill. Beginner ghost catching skill. Honorary titles. Goddess of War, selfless ancestor items. Calm aura, faith aura. Amulet 5, upgraded amulet aura. Mother of the world, Queen's blessing. Model worker, Chenshi's blessing. Leader aura, grass blessing. Best friend, Miao Miao Miao's blessing. Life-saving hand, Zhu Su Nyang's blessing. Completed Tao Qin's wish. Mission completion, 100. Obtained 1. 8 million points, 50 attribute points, 200 faith, 10 merit points. Not bad. He added the 50 attribute points to wisdom, luck, spiritual power, martial power and aptitude. Serial number 2333. Name Ning Shu. Intermediate mission taker. Age 27 points. 615 soul value. 300 HP. 71 wisdom. 23410 charm. 10 luck. 6410 spiritual power. 14010 faith. 1314 martial power, 15210 aptitude, 5910 merit, 10050 skills. 5th ring shooting technique, trash fighting technique, beginner martial arts, beginner poison technique, beginner business management knowledge, beginner code programming, beginner lawyer skills, beginner ghost catching skills. Honorary titles: Goddess of War, Selfless. Ancestor items: Calm Aura, Faith Aura, Amulet 5, Upgraded Amulet Aura. Mother of the World, Queen's Blessing. Model Worker, Chunshi's Blessing. Leader Aura, Grass Blessing. Best Friend, Meow Meow Meow's Blessing. Life-Saving Hand, Zhu Su Nyang's Blessing. After distributing the attribute points, Ning Shu sat cross-legged and began to cultivate. Seeing that Ning Shu was done cultivating, 2333 asked, "Are you feeling better?" Ning Shu suddenly felt like a bucket of water was poured on his head. Did he know how to chat and ruin people's good mood? Pretty good, Ning Shu said. 2333 said, "I thought you were in a bad mood, so I'll tell you a piece of good news. Since you're in a good mood, then forget it." Ning Shu, bitch. Good news has nothing to do with whether I'm in a good mood or not. Ning Shu said, in a bad mood. What good news? 2333 said, when Tao Qin made the deal, she gave you an extra 1 million points. She fought with the higher-ups to get it for you. That works? Ning Shu was stunned. Tao Qin actually got an extra 1 million points for him. That was a lot. 2333 said, she probably saw that you completed the quest and felt grateful. Plus, this quest dragged on until now. Since you finished it, there should be a reward. Ning Shu was overjoyed. He got 1 million points for free. It was an unexpected surprise. Great. This 1 million points could be exchanged for a lot of things in the system store. Ning Shu opened the system store and browsed through the items. He bought a lot of books, all kinds of books. The bookshelf was filled to the brim with books. Ning Shu had also exchanged for several secret cultivation manuals of different races. If he encountered a special situation during the quest, he could cultivate these secret cultivation manuals. He put the secret cultivation manuals on the bookshelf and read them when he had time. Now that her wisdom had increased, it was easier for her to understand and remember what the secretary said. Ning Shu added some small things in the system store and decorated the system store. This was her home. Every time she came back here, she felt relaxed. The decorations were more comfortable and made her feel better. Anyway, Ning Shu tried to make herself comfortable and happy. Chapter 766. Ning Shu said, I'd like to see how Tao Qin is doing after she returned. Okay. Number 2333 replied. A screen appeared in front of Ning Shu. Ning Shu saw that Tao Qin had inherited the position of the Maoshan sect's leader. Because there were many children in the Taoist temple, life was still difficult. Tao Qin and the older children all hunted ghosts and performed rituals. The Taoist temple was renovated, and the statues of the 3 pristine ones and the patriarch were reconstructed. Occasionally, the villagers at the foot of the Taoist temple would come to burn incense. They would donate some money for incense, but it was better than nothing. The income came from exorcism. In any case, Tao Qin's life was to exorcise evil spirits and hunt ghosts, and then pass down the Maoshan sect's spells. Everyone had their own way of living, and Tao Qin was destined to deal with ghosts. Tao Qin also had no intention of getting married. Few men could accept that their women hunted ghosts and exorcised evil spirits all day long. This mission could be considered a successful counterattack, and Ning Shu was relieved. Ning Shu took out a secret book and memorized the chant. It was safest to store it in his mind. After that, Ning Shu put the book on the shelf and clicked on the exchange store. He bought fasting pills, water, medicine, and antidote pills. No matter which plane he was in, these things were necessary for survival. After that, Ning Shu said, Let's see who the next mission is. Okay. A woman appeared in the space. She was about 40 years old, wearing a professional suit. She was beautiful and had a fierce aura. She was obviously a strong woman. When the woman saw Ning Shu, she said, Counterattack for me. Half of my soul power is my bottom line. She is my daughter, and I can't do it. You can do whatever you want. How about this deal? So strong. Ning Shu smiled and said, What do you want? That bastard killed my father, killed me, and then tricked my daughter. What do you think? Ning Shu said. Ning Shu rolled his eyes and said, You want revenge on that bastard, right? That's right. The woman said straightforwardly. Can you accept half of my soul power? Ning Shu nodded. Sure. All right, then our deal is complete. After saying that, the woman's body vanished. Ning Shu. In less than a few minutes, Ning Shu didn't even know the woman's name. Ning Shu took a deep breath and said to 2333, Enter the quest. As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Shu felt a wave of dizziness. He felt that his soul had fused with another body. Ning Shu quietly waited for his soul to fuse with his body. After the complete fusion, Ning Shu opened his eyes and found himself in a spacious and luxurious office. Ning Shu stretched his neck and picked up the nameplate on the table. On it was written CEO Sherlina. Ning Shu put down the nameplate, leaned back in the leather chair, closed his eyes, and began to accept the plot. Well, this was a revenge story. The original owner was called Sherlina. She was the CEO of a listed company and the only heir of the Sher family. Because she was the only daughter in the Sher family, Sherlina chose to take in a husband. Sherlina was good-looking and had a good family background. So naturally, there were people who were willing to marry into her family. Sherlina chose an artist. This man had the romantic and free taste of the artist, and he was also good-looking. After the two got married, they had a daughter, Shersinan. Sherlina's marriage didn't last long. The couple divorced when their daughter, Shersinan, was 5 or 6 years old. The artist's husband couldn't stand it and couldn't resist Sherlina's strong personality. She didn't have the gentleness and beauty that a woman should have. As a man, he was always called a sponger. His self-esteem couldn't stand it, and he decisively divorced. In order to show that he didn't do it for money, he left the marriage with nothing and found a gentle and considerate woman to live with. After the divorce, Sherlina didn't remarry and devoted all her attention to the company. The turn of events was that Sherlina's father brought back a man and put the man's name on the Sher family's household register, becoming Sherlina's younger brother. Sherlina was full of suspicion towards this younger brother. She always felt that this younger brother was her father's illegitimate son. Moreover, Sherlina clearly felt that this younger brother had some malice towards the Sher family. Shimuching was very handsome, and he had a bad feeling about him. His evil and wild smile was simply unbearable for women. Moreover, there was a feeling that he didn't put anyone in his eyes. Old Master Sher felt a little guilty towards Shimuching, but he turned a blind eye and even let Shimuching become the company's vice president. Without any excessive changes, he directly became the vice president. Sherlina was wary of Shimuching, but her daughter Shersinan was quite curious about this uncle who had suddenly appeared. Moreover, this uncle was still very young. Shimuching smiled meaningfully and teased Shersinan like a big bad wolf, looking at a little white rabbit. He sized her up maliciously, and Shersinan couldn't help but blush. Sherlina warned her daughter many times not to get close to Shimuching, but Shersinan didn't listen, and even said that her uncle was a very good person. Sherlina was so angry that she wanted to die. She forcibly prevented Shersinan from getting close to Shimuching, which made the relationship between mother and daughter tense. Every time she saw Shimuching's devilish smile, Sherlina's heart would surge with uneasiness. On Shersinan's 18th birthday, Shimuching gave Shersinan a birthday present, which was to say, he did that to the 18-year-old Shersinan. After that indescribable thing happened, Shersinan was dumbfounded. They were related by blood. Shersinan was terrified and uneasy. She was afraid that her grandfather and mother would find out and have to face Shimuching's harassment again. Shimuching had something on her, so Shersinan didn't dare to speak out. Shimuching was the kind of person who was good to women, and women absolutely couldn't resist him. Shersinan was flirted with by Shimuching. One moment he was gentle, the next he was hostile. It was as if he had a split personality. Sinan was addicted to this heartbeat while trying to convince her uncle. Shi came with hatred. Raping Sinan was just to take revenge on the Shi family. However, he had feelings for Sinan, so he was conflicted. He treated Sinan coldly and warmly, but he was also domineering and didn't allow her to get close to other boys in school. Ever since they had sex at the birthday party, Shi treated Sinan as his woman and had absolute control over her. After that, Shi plotted to cause Shirlena to get into a car accident and kill old Master Shi, and the Shi family fell into Shi hands. With her family dead, Sinan had no one to rely on and could only rely on this uncle. However, Shi had very complicated feelings about this person who had the Shi family's bloodline. Shi os, "Woman, what should I do with you?" Chapter 767. After a series of misunderstandings and entanglements, the abusive car accident, and the murder of her entire family, in the end, Shi got together with Sinan. Together, Ning Shu was dumbfounded after accepting the plot. This was the first time Ning Shu had seen such a complicated plot since he started doing missions. It was mixed with the previous generation's grievances, revenge, love, lust, and imprisonment. Yes, legally speaking, the uncle and niece were together. They were together. Now, Ning Shu was now the sister and mother of this pair of lovers. Shirlena had mixed feelings about her daughter, Sinan. She was her daughter after all, but Sinan's actions made Shirlena hate her very much. She enjoyed the Shi family's rich life, but she didn't fulfill any responsibilities. In the end, she even got together with the Shi family's enemy. If she had any guts, she would have perished together with them. Give me back my grandfather and my mother's life. However, love could dissolve all hostility and hatred. Ning Shu. Degree? Ning Shu wiped the cold sweat on his forehead. This level of melodrama was rarely seen in the world. Bang! The office door suddenly opened, and a man in a suit with broad shoulders, a narrow waist, and long legs walked in. The secretary was anxiously stopping him. Ning Shu said, "President, I'm sorry. I can't stop the vice president." Ning Shu looked at Shi. He was about 25 or 26 years old. His facial features were deep, and he was incomparably handsome. He looked arrogant and unruly. Ning Shu's secretary waved his hand. "Go and pour a cup of tea for the vice president." Shi raised his hand and stopped the secretary. "I'm not here to drink tea." Shi looked at Ning Shu. Under his deep gaze, Ning Shu couldn't suppress his heartbeat. He was indeed a domineering president. No wonder Sinan could let go of the hatred of killing her entire family and happily end it with him. Ning Shu's face was cold. "Then what are you here for?" "Elder sister." Shi Ning Shu shouted. The two words sister flowed from his mouth. It was somewhat lingering and treacherous. But more than that, it was a kind of coldness and malice that made people feel a chill down their backs. "It's time to get off work." "I'm going to get off work first. I don't like working overtime. I won't work overtime in the future," Shi said as he picked up the nameplate on Ning Shu's table. Shi looked at the nameplate with a smile on his face. Ning Shu reached out and took his nameplate from Shi hand and put it on the table. "Since you want to get off work, then get off work. You don't have to tell me." Shi smiled. "All right then, I'll leave first." "Sis, you should get off work early. If you have nothing to do, go out on a date." "You," Shi sized up Ning Shu from head to toe. His gaze seemed to be penetrating. Wherever his gaze swept, the skin would feel hot and sweat would pour out of his back. Was this the ability to see who would get pregnant? "You're really wasting your capital like this." Shi turned and left after saying that. Ning Shu stared at Shi back view. Anyway, the mission this time was to kill Shi and protect the company. As for Sinan, this cheap daughter, let's talk about it later. Ning Shu was also preparing to get off work. She took her document bag and went to the company's underground garage to drive. Shi luxury car was long gone. Shi had a lot of capital in his hands. He had his own company in his hands. And he also had underground forces. Everything he did was to take revenge on the Sure family. However, the old man had let a wolf into the house. His granddaughter had run away with the enemy, and he and his daughter had died. Ningxu drove back to the Sure family villa. When she opened the door, a servant placed the slippers neatly in front of her. Ningxu put on the slippers and entered the living room. There was no one in the living room. Ningxu's servant asked, "Where are the others?" "Old master is upstairs in the study. Mr. Shi hasn't returned yet," the servant said. Ningxu raised her eyebrows. Hadn't Shi Muching gotten off work early and hadn't returned? However, Shi Muching had a lot of nests. He had his own company and villa. Working at the Sure family's company was just for the sake of the old man. Ningxu raised her wrist and looked at her watch. It was already time for Sure Sinan to finish school. Sure Sinan was only an 18-year-old high school student now. Shi Muching was worse than an animal to be able to do such a thing. In the plot, Sure Sinan didn't study after graduating from high school. Because in her third year of high school, she experienced something indescribable with her uncle and fell into a sweet and complicated relationship. Then, life was like a wild horse out of its anus. First, her mother died. Then her grandfather died. Then, she found out that her mother and grandfather were killed by her uncle. It was like a bolt from the blue, and the world collapsed. Sure Sinan, who wanted to leave, was imprisoned by Shi Muching again. She was in so much pain that she wanted to die. She refused to eat, cut her wrists and committed suicide. All kinds of torturous things happened again. The pain is in my body, the pain is in your heart. Come on, let's torture each other. Ningxu thought for a while, took the car keys, and prepared to pick up Sure Sinan from school. Now, Sure Sinan and Shi Muching hadn't done anything indescribable yet. If he could salvage the situation, then so be it. Ningxu hadn't left yet when he heard the sound of a car engine at the entrance of the villa. He hurriedly walked to the door and saw Sure Sinan sitting in Shi Muching's convertible luxury car. Shi Muching glanced at Ningxu and leaned over to unfasten Sure Sinan's seatbelt. From Ningxu's point of view, Shi Muching seemed to be hugging Sure Sinan. Sure Sinan's fair and tender face was flushed, and even her ears were red. Shi Muching's actions made Sure Sinan feel a little strange, but the other party was an elder, so Sure Sinan didn't think much of it. Shi Muching slowly unfastened Sure Sinan's seatbelt. His movements had an indescribable charm. Sure Sinan felt hot all over, and hurriedly got out of the car. Seeing Ningxu standing at the door, she hurriedly called out to Ningxu, "Mom." Ningxu smiled at Sure Sinan and said, "Why did you come back in Uncle's car?" Ningxu emphasized the word uncle. "Uncle came to pick me up from school. Uncle said that Mom asked him to pick me up," Sure Sinan said. Ningxu looked at Shi Muching, who was smiling wickedly and unscrupulously. Ningxu looked away and said indifferently, "Come in." "Okay," Sure Sinan said coquettishly. Seeing her uncle staring at her, Sure Sinan felt a little embarrassed and turned to enter the house. In Ningxu's convertible car, Shi Muching said, "Thank you for picking up my daughter." Shi Muching said, "After all, I'm also Sinan's uncle." Ningxu smiled. "Yes, you're Sinan's uncle." When Shi Muching saw Ningxu's smile, he looked a little unhappy. His eyes were sharp as he said, "Sister, don't worry. I'll love Sinan well." Ningxu thought, "Bitch." Ningxu turned and entered the house. He thought to himself that he should kill Shi Muching before things reached the point of no return, and give him a taste of his own medicine. Chapter 768. Ningxu entered the living room and saw that Sure Sinan was drinking water. Sure Sinan was wearing a fresh dress. She was really at the age of blooming. She had a youthful vibe, and Sure Sinan was quite good-looking. She had long eyelashes, big eyes, and a small cherry mouth. When she smiled, she was sweet to the core. She also had the elegance of a rich young lady and was carefree. Sure Sinan was not like Shirlina. In terms of personality, she was more like her father. In addition, Shirlina and her husband divorced. She felt that she owed Sure Sinan and doted on her. Shirlina was sometimes worried about whether Sure Sinan would be able to support the Sure family company, But in the face of a woman who was as beautiful as a flower, she couldn't bear to force her. She just didn't expect that the delicate flower that she carefully cared for would be taken by a pig. In Ning Shu's eyes, Shi Sinan was a Mary Sue, and this kind of Mary Sue should be called a confused Mary Sue. He was dumbfounded by what she had just done. Her mother died. She was confused. Her grandfather died. She was confused. The murderer was him. She was confused. What should she do? She was confused. What's the use of living such an otherworldly life? Old Master came down from upstairs. When he saw Shi Sinan, a smile immediately appeared on his face. Sinan, you're back. Were you unhappy at school today? No, Grandpa. I didn't have anything to be unhappy about, Shi Sinan said with a smile. When Shi Muqing came in and saw the harmonious scene between the grandfather and granddaughter, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. He looked evil, but it made him full of charm. Old Master saw Shi Muqing and asked him, "How's work in the company? Have you adapted?" Shi Muqing said, "Not bad, I'm quite used to it." "That's good," Old Master said. "You and Lena will support each other in the future." Shi Muqing just curled his lips and didn't comment. During dinner, Old Master said, "It'll be Sinan's 18th birthday in a few days. I plan to hold a banquet for her. She's an adult at 18 years old, so it's time to meet the people who have business dealings with the Shi family. Sinan can invite your classmates and good friends to the banquet," Old Master said. "Thank you, Grandpa." Shi Sinan smiled sweetly. Seeing Shi Muqing staring at her, she couldn't help but lower her head. That kind of scorching gaze gave Shi Sinan a strange feeling in her heart. Shi Muqing put down his chopsticks and smiled at Shi Sinan. Then, as her uncle, "Do I have to prepare a gift for my niece?" "Thank you, Uncle," Shi Sinan said with reddened ears. Shi Muqing's gaze swept over Shi Sinan's face inch by inch, as if he was using his eyes to describe Shi Sinan's facial features. In the face of Shi Muqing's predatory gaze, Shi Sinan's face flushed red, and she was extremely shy. Ning Shu coughed and used his arm to block Shi Muqing's gaze when he picked up the food. This kind of wolf's gaze made Ning Shu want to dig out Shi Muqing's thieving eyes. After dinner, Ning Shu said to his father, "Dad, I have something to tell you." The old man said, "What do you want to say?" "Let's go to the study," Ning Shu said. The old man glanced at Shi Muqing, who was sitting on the sofa, and nodded. In the study, Ning Shu said directly, "Dad, do you know where this Shi Muqing came from? Why did you bring him home?" The old man sighed and said, "He's actually your uncle's son." "Dad, Uncle is older than you. Why is his son so young?" Ning Shu said bluntly. The old man said, "Back then, your uncle and I were doing business together. We developed from a small shop to a company. We met your mother. Your uncle and I both liked your mother, and your mother chose me." Ning Shu, brothers fighting over a woman. Shirlena's mother was also a beauty with a short life. She passed away when Shirlena was in her teens, and the old man didn't remarry. Your uncle was resentful and took all the company's money. The company couldn't hold on anymore, so I took a loan from the bank. "What about Uncle?" Ning Shu asked. The old man said, "He took the money and ran away. There's been no news of him for so many years. I've been looking for him. Not long ago, there was news of him. He's already passed away, leaving behind Shi Muqing as his son. When I found Shi Muqing, he was hanging out with a bunch of hooligans. He lived in a small dirty house." Ning Shu asked again, "Uncle is dead. Where's Aunt?" The old man sighed and said, "Your uncle isn't married. Shi Muqing's mother is one of your uncle's mistresses." Ning Shu, he. With Shi Muqing's imposing manner, he was like a lighthouse in the night wherever he stood. How could he be a hooligan? Moreover, Shi Muqing was quite good at business. Was this something a hooligan could have? The matter couldn't stand up to scrutiny. Moreover, Shi Muqing wasn't his uncle's son at all. He was an adopted son adopted by his uncle whom he had never met. The cheap uncle instilled hatred into Shi Muqing. Shi Muqing's arrival was to take back everything for his father. "Lena, Shi Muqing has always been muddle-headed. He doesn't do things properly. Just bear with him," the old man said. Ning Shu only chuckled in his heart. Shi Muqing's methods were quite ruthless. The deaths of Shirlina and Grandpa Shen only added a little more torture to this sadistic relationship. Shi Muqing hated the Shi family, and even his feelings for Shi Sinan were mixed. He could kill the rest of the Shi family, but he couldn't do anything to Shi Sinan. Instead, he imprisoned her. All kinds of love and hate stories were played out in this villa. Of course, there were also indescribable things, and all kinds of shameful relationships. Shi Muqing OS fell in love with the daughter of the enemy, loved you and tortured you. Shi Sinan OS fell in love with the enemy who killed his mother, hated you for torturing yourself. Ning Shu looked at the old man silently. Have you investigated thoroughly? I don't think he's Uncle's son at all. He's not here with good intentions. The old man pondered for a moment, then sighed and said, Let's talk about this later. Ning Shu felt a little stifled. The old man felt guilty towards his brother. What was there to feel guilty about? He had taken away all the company's money. This money was enough for him to indulge in debauchery and secretly cultivate power. Under the halo of Shi Muqing's male lead, these powers grew bigger and bigger, and the company was not weaker than the Shi family. Old Master Shi wasn't the one who did anything wrong. Ning Shu pursed his lips. He still had to rely on himself for this matter. The old man still doted on this man from the Shi family. After all, Shirlina and Shi Sinan were both women. Moreover, Shi Sinan didn't look like she could do big things and shouldered the responsibility of a listed company. Yes, Shi Sinan was pure, innocent, naive and sweet. Chapter 769. If Shi Sinan were to take in a son-in-law like Shirlina, the company would fall into the hands of an outsider. Ning Shu could tell that old Master Shi wanted to give the company to Shi Muqing. Now was the time to test Shi Muqing. Since he couldn't take old Master Shi's path, Ning Shu could only think of a way to deal with Shi Muqing himself. Ning Shu left the study and went downstairs to see Shi Sinan writing test papers on the table. Shi Muqing was standing next to Shi Sinan, leaning over the table with his hands on it. His tall body covered Shi Sinan's petite body. Shi Muqing watched Shi Sinan write, and pointed out her mistakes from time to time. Shi Muqing held Shi Sinan's hand, and moved the pen in Shi Sinan's hand. Shi Sinan felt her heart beating like thunder. She felt very strange, but she couldn't pinpoint what was strange about it. She felt that something was wrong, but she couldn't say it out loud. Niece, do you remember everything Uncle said? Shi Muqing asked. The two of them were very close to each other, and their breaths were intertwined. Shi Sinan could even smell her uncle's scent, which made her dizzy and made her hands and feet go weak. I remember. Shi Sinan's voice was like a mosquito's buzz, and her neck was pink. Shi Muqing's eyes were watery, and his face was expressionless as he looked at Shi Sinan with an unfathomable gaze. Seeing this scene, Ning Shu wanted to rush into the kitchen and chop Shi Muqing up with a kitchen knife. It was simply a heinous crime to seduce an inexperienced and brainless child like this. Ning Shu hurried downstairs and asked, Sinan, what are you doing? Shi Sinan said with some admiration, Mom, Uncle is tutoring me. Uncle is so amazing. Shi Muqing curled his lips and tilted his head slightly. Niece, you seem a little stupid. You can't even solve such a simple question. Uncle, Shi Sinan couldn't help but call out. Ning Shu said indifferently, Didn't you drop out of school very early? You even know about high school? Shi Muqing didn't seem like an uncultured person. Could old Master Shi not tell? He definitely could. He chose to ignore these things, because Shi Muqing was a male descendant of the Shi family. He even made Shi Muqing his son. Although I dropped out of school, it doesn't stop me from continuing to study, right? Shi Muqing found a very insincere reason. Shi Sinan looked at Shi Muqing with her clear, bright eyes. Uncle, did you teach yourself? Yes. Ning Shu, who was beside them, could feel the strange atmosphere between the two of them. It was charming and ambiguous. Ning Shu, Shi Sinan said, It's time to sleep. Sleep with mommy tonight. Okay. With a smile on her face, Shi Sinan tidied up the test papers on the table and followed Ning Shu upstairs. Ning Shu turned around and saw that Shi Muqing was looking at him and Shi Sinan. His eyes were deep, and it was obvious that he was up to no good. After entering the bedroom, Ning Shu looked at Shirsinan's test paper. Shirsinan didn't do well in her studies. When Shirsinan came out of the shower, Ning Shu said to Shirsinan, "If your studies are really difficult, you don't have to study anymore. Learn from mommy how to manage the company, or go to a finance school. You don't have to study so hard." Children from families like Shirsinan's didn't have to be like ordinary students, who regarded the college entrance examination as a turning point in their lives. Even if their grades weren't good, they could be sent abroad. Even if they wanted to go to university, it would be a matter of minutes. Shirsinan dried her wet hair. Ning Shu said coquettishly, "Mommy, I want to rely on my own efforts to get into university. I want to live a university life." "Up to you," Ning Shu said lightly. "Thank you, Mommy." Shirsinan wrapped her arms around Ning Shu's neck and kissed Ning Shu on the cheek. Ning Shu said again, "Sinan, do you have a boy you like? In school?" Shirsinan quickly shook her head. "No, Mommy, I'm not in puppy love." "No, Mommy means that Sinan is a girl. You must know how to protect yourself. Don't be too close to boys. As long as it's a man, you must keep a distance," Ning Shu said to Shirsinan. Shirsinan frowned and asked, "Do I also have to keep a distance from grandpa and uncle?" "Your grandfather is your biological grandfather, but your uncle is a young man. You still have to keep a distance, okay?" Ning Shu said to Shirsinan. Shi Muqing's relationship with Shirsinan wasn't like that of an uncle to a niece. Even a biological uncle wouldn't have such an intimate distance. This was the distance a man needed to explore a woman's heart inch by inch. "Go to sleep," Ning Shu said to Shirsinan, and then went to take a shower. When Shirsinan fell asleep, Ning Shu set up a spirit-gathering array in the room and sat cross-legged on the bed to cultivate the ultimate martial arts. Cultivating the ultimate martial arts could make the body agile. Even if there was a car accident like in the plot, he could still save himself. However, there was a girl by his side. When he cultivated, he had to pay attention to whether Shirsinan was awake or not. Although it was inconvenient, Ning Shu still wouldn't let Shirsinan be alone. He didn't feel at ease letting Shirsinan sleep alone. Several times, Shi Muqing pretended to be crazy and entered Shirsinan's room. Although nothing happened, he broke into Shirsinan's boudoir like this. A man entered her room like this and lay on her bed. This had quite a big impact on Shirsinan's heart, especially since her uncle was a handsome man. Coupled with Shi Muqing's deliberate seduction, even a female mosquito could faint. Moreover, Shi Muqing's possessiveness towards Shirsinan stirred Shirsinan's heart. Ning Shu, slut. At about 2 o'clock in the morning, Ning Shu quietly went downstairs. He went to the kitchen to get a fruit knife, and went straight to the villa's garage. Holding a flashlight in his hand, he found Shi Muqing's car, and used the back of the fruit knife to cut the undercarriage's oil pipe. The cutting surface wouldn't be so smooth with the back of the knife, so it was obvious that someone had cut it. Ning Shu was so busy that he was covered in sweat. Finally, he made a hole in the oil pipe. The oil in the oil pipe leaked out and stained Ning Shu's hand. Ning Shu took cotton and stuffed it into the oil pipe. After doing these things, Ning Shu left the garage and returned to the bedroom to take a shower and continue repairing. After cultivating for a night, Ning Shu felt very comfortable. There was a strand of energy in his dantian the size of a strand of hair. Ning Shu woke Shirsinan up. Shirsinan looked confused. Her eyelashes fluttered as she opened her eyes. Her face was red and very beautiful. Pure and beautiful, which was something the hateful Shi Muqing didn't have. So he loved and hated Shirsinan. Ning Shu and Shirsinan went downstairs together. Shi Muqing was already sitting at the dining table drinking coffee. He was wearing a white shirt with the collar unbuttoned, and his chest was partly visible. It was indeed pleasing to see such beauty early in the morning. Shirsinan was a little shy. She looked away, not daring to look at Shi Muqing. Shi Muqing put down the coffee and looked at Shirsinan with deep eyes. He said in a teasing tone, "Sinan is already a big girl. Why are you still sleeping with your mother?" Chapter 770. Shi Muching said. Sinan is a big girl now. She should be independent and can sleep on her own. Sure Sinan didn't know what to say. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. She's my daughter. If she doesn't sleep with me, do you think she'll sleep with you, bitch? Does us mother and daughter sleeping together have anything to do with you being her uncle? Ning Shu looked at Shi Muching coldly, her voice cold. Little brother. Shi Muching casually picked up his coffee and took a sip. His movements were very elegant as he smiled slightly. Sister, I'm just saying. Sinan is the eldest daughter of the Shi family. She should be independent soon. Ning Shu, don't think I don't know what you're thinking. If you want to sneak into my room, come to my room if you dare. If I don't break your legs, I won't fucking be surnamed Ning. Ning Shu sneered. It's not up to you to comment on the matters between us mother and daughter. Shi Muching shrugged his shoulders, but his eyes were fixed on Shi Sinan. Shi Sinan felt very uncomfortable being stuck in the middle. She couldn't help but say to Ning Shu, Mom, let's not talk about it. Ning Shu pulled Shi Sinan to her side and sat down. She said faintly, Sinan, normal men don't care about the details of women's affairs. Look at your grandfather. He's a man and an uncle. If he's not a pervert, then what is? Mom. Shi Sinan was a little confused. She glanced at Shi Muching secretly and felt that her uncle wasn't a pervert. Ning Shu frowned and sighed in his heart. He felt a little speechless. It was said that girls tended to side with outsiders. But now Shi Sinan was leaning toward Shi Muching. There weren't any young elders in the Shi family. Shi Sinan's father had left when she was young, and Shi Sinan had no experience getting along with young male elders. She thought that Shi Muching was an elder based on the way he interacted with her. What are you talking about so early in the morning? Did you hear your voices upstairs? Old Master came downstairs and asked Ning Shu and the other two. Shi Sinan wanted to let this matter go. There was no need to quarrel. It's okay, Grandpa. The old man sat down and said, I'll ask someone to prepare for the banquet now. Sinan, keep your spirits up and celebrate your 18th birthday happily. Thank you, Grandpa. Shi Sinan smiled, looking very fresh and beautiful. Shi Muching stared at Shi Sinan. Shi Sinan turned her head and met Shi Muching's eyes. Shi Muching winked at Shi Sinan and said with a devilish expression, Well, what gift should I give my niece? How troublesome. Shi Muching raised his eyebrows and leaned forward slightly to look at Shi Sinan. Tell me what you like. I'll definitely satisfy you. Shi Sinan's face was red. Ning Shu said coldly, Thank you, but Sinan doesn't have anything she likes. You can just give it to her. Shi Muching glanced at Shi Sinan and said with a faint smile, But I don't think that's the case with your niece. As a mother, you actually don't know what your daughter likes. You're a little unreasonable as a mother. Ning Shu turned his head and saw that Shi Sinan's expression was a little gloomy. She was obviously sad that her mother didn't know what she liked. Ning Shu was speechless. What a mess. Sister, children need love and care. You're so focused on work every day. You should be more concerned about your niece. Shi Muching stood up, picked up the suit jacket on the chair, and left with a chuckle. Ning Shu pursed his lips and ate the sandwich and milk. How could he have the strength to fight if he didn't eat his fill? Have breakfast. Go to school after that. Ning Shu didn't know what to say to Shi Sinan. She was really too naive and had been used by Shi Muching to attack her. After breakfast, Ning Shu went upstairs to change his clothes and get ready to go to work. As long as he killed Shi Muching, everything would be fine. Ning Shu didn't expose the ambiguous behavior between Shi Muching and Shi Sinan. At least for now. Shi Sinan still treated Shi Muching as her uncle and elder. He had to get rid of Shi Muching before they had a substantial relationship. Shi Sinan followed Ning Shu upstairs. Seeing that Ning Shu was putting on an office lady's suit jacket, she said, Mom, can you take me to school today? I haven't been with you in a long time. Ning Shu nodded. Okay, I'll take you to school first, then to the company. Although Ning Shu had promised Shi Sinan to take her to school, Shi Sinan still looked very unhappy. Shi Muching's words had obviously aroused her dissatisfaction. Shi Sinan carried a beautiful and small bag and waited for Ning Shu to drive out of the garage. When Ning Shu's car stopped in front of her, Shi Sinan got into the car, and the car drove out of the villa. Sinan, who was in the car, looked at Ning Shu from time to time. Ning Shu asked directly, "Just say what you want to say." "Mom, you always go to work and are busy with work every day. I want to go shopping with you and talk to you more," Sinan said. Ning Shu almost couldn't suppress the primitive force in her heart. Her tone was a little stiff as she said, "If I tell you 10 sentences, you won't remember one sentence. If your uncle says one sentence, you will remember it firmly." What was going on now? Was she questioning her? Was she questioning Shirlena? No wonder in the system space. Shirlena had said that she could do whatever she wanted to Sinan. Obviously, she had been heartbroken by Sinan. "Oh, I chat with you every day to relieve your boredom. Otherwise, I don't care about you or don't understand you. If you don't work, money will fall from the sky. Do you have the money to let you live a carefree life as a young lady?" Shirlena was the CEO of the company. The fate of the company was in her hands, and the livelihood of so many employees was on her shoulders. The business world was a man's battlefield. Shirlena was a woman. In the business world, she had to put in double or even triple the effort to be respected. In particular, Shirlena was a divorced woman, and there were always rumors. Society had never been less malicious toward women. They said that Shirlena was a shrew, and her husband couldn't stand it and divorced her. Even if they praised her as an iron lady, it might be sarcastic. Did Shirlena complain to Sinan after shouldering all of this? "Oh, I'm lonely. Mom doesn't accompany me. I'm so sad." Ning Shu hated talking to this kind of innocent and beautiful person the most. She still had the time to think about these things when she didn't have enough to eat or warm clothes. She didn't lack food and clothing, so she had the time to be sad. Seeing that Ning Shu was angry, Sinan looked a little uneasy. She pursed her lips tightly and looked out of the car window. Ning Shu sighed in her heart and said, "Sinan, come to the company for an internship this weekend." Sinan turned her head and said with a pout, "But Mom, I'm in my 3rd year of high school now. My studies are very tight, and the exams are coming soon." Ning Shu said indifferently, "There are some things that you won't need at all in the future. Come to the company for an internship and understand the operations of the company. It's better for your future." You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.